Hello everyone and welcome to season 2 of the Creative Noahland podcast. We've got some great guests lined up for you this season, so let's start as we mean to go on. Now, I've always said that I want Creative Noahland to be a place that inspires others to do the things that inspire them. And I was racking my brain as to who should be the first guest to start us off for season 2. Should it be an artist, a poet, a musician maybe? But after recording this episode, I knew it had to be this guest. Someone who, up until recently, probably wouldn't have even considered themselves creative, but someone who is one of the most authentic and inspiring humans that I've met in a long time, Mr. PJ Ellis. You might recognise the name as, yes, PJ was on season 3 of reality TV show Big Brother, but that's not the reason why I've got him on the podcast. A lot's happened since then, trust me. A family, a law career, a digital marketing agency, setting up and being part of multiple charities that have raised hundreds of thousands of pounds for amazing causes. There's years spent working tirelessly to champion amazing people. And now he's a radio DJ who tries to get people smiling every day. Now, if you're a creative in inverted commas, you might wonder how this is relevant to you. Well, PJ's story is one of overcoming adversity and anxiety, reinvention, fame and celebrity, playing a part to fit in, finding a purpose, having impact, authenticity, inspiration, and most importantly, showing up for yourself as well as other people. They're human issues, not just creative issues that we all go through, and we go into all of them in this episode. So, if you're feeling a little stuck or uninspired, give this one a listen, as I'm sure there's something that you can take away from it that will help you on whatever journey that you're on. And before we start, I want to dedicate this episode to PJ's mum, Marion Ellis, who is sadly no longer with us, but who, as you will hear, has left a lasting legacy of warmth, kindness, and generosity that is evident in everything that PJ does to lift up as many people around him as he can. Look, there's inspiration galore in this one, so I'm going to shut up, but I'm very proud that this is the first episode of the new season. So, enough of me, let's get into it.
Born ready, man. Let's just have a
Born ready.
I think we'll have a nice chat. I think
well, you're a podcast pro now. I feel like you've done about 7 million in the last couple of weeks.
I think what you're good at, mate, I've listened to a few of your podcasts and I've been obviously following you and known you for a while now, but I think the best sort of interviews are when you stop interviewing and you just have a chat. So the fact that I've got some notes, the only notes are just basically there are so many people I would love for you to talk to next. I'll put them down here and I'm just going to make a few snapshot decisions when you ask me that question.
Well, cool. Mate, I'm open to more people,
but I might mention a few. But there's
one is the suggestion.
Well, there's one or two, and I think depending on this conversation, it'll probably help me decide who that is. No pressure on me. No pressure on you. One of these people is going to be let down.
If this goes well, you might get Alison. If not,
well, Alison Hammond, I've been put on the list, but let's put her straight at the top. That's a given, isn't it?
Everyone wants you to, but that's not what I feel like. She obviously has got a huge creative arc and what she's doing. And brilliant.
It'd be interesting for you to talk to Alison. This is recording. You should put it out. Alison, Bab, listen to me. Have a chat with Matt because I don't think she would even think she was creative.
Really?
And she actually really is.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because...
But then I don't think you do either.
No, I don't know. Until there's a few people, including yourself, that's challenged me with that, if that's the right word. And I've actually started to appreciate that, I am more of a creative than I ever. I mean, I've got socks on at the moment with bloody aubergines on.
No, they're avocados.
Whatever the emoji is.
He's creative, he just doesn't know his fruit in his veg.
Don't get me to draw any fruit. But Alison, mate, if you're listening, you are a creative. She was born in the arts, theatre, acting, the creativity, like the journey she's been on as well to recreate what she is, what she stands for. There's always been that authenticity, that vulnerability, that credibility and consistency. But she's changed, and I think she'd be a great guest.
Well, I tell you what, on those notes, seems like a good place for us to start, because what I wrote down about you, Pete, is reinvention, authenticity, impact, purpose, and a connector of people.
Wow.
So that's how I've put you.
Yeah.
And I've probably ruined it now, but how would you describe yourself?
Interesting, isn't it? That's a really good question, because I think I've always struggled with that, whether it be because of anxieties or whether I value myself as much as I should or value myself as much as I tell other people to value themselves. I've never really stuck around long enough to be anything, if that makes sense. That sounds really deep, doesn't it? And sad, but I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the sense that one minute I thought I'd be a footballer, then I was a lawyer, then I had my own business, then I did some reality TV, then I set a charity up, then I decided to go and work for the BBC. So there were so many different things that I've done.
But do you think this is part of the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
But along that journey, do you recognise that you've had huge impact on that journey, even though you're a bit flippant about it, even in the way you talk about it?
Yeah, I think I'm getting better at understanding that I have connected people. I have told the right stories at the right times, I think. I have got off my backside and done things that have created impact because it's been with purpose. So I do understand that. Going from that, though, and then articulating it into, oh, yeah, I am a connector, I do bring value, are two different things for me, because I just shy away from that sort of... The irony is, I can often be the loud person in the room. I can be that person that posts on LinkedIn every day. But actually, I'm not that confident, if that makes sense.
Can we dive a little bit into that then? Because obviously we've known each other a while. You've been on a bit of a podcast tour, and we've got to shout out Hannah at the
Pursuit of Purpose
podcast,
I believe.
Podcast, which everyone should go and listen to, and potential future guests. We've got some weird 6 degrees of separation, not just through you, but also through a previous guest.
Cool.
But that really stuck with me. Not only your openness, but your whole story, and the fact that your public persona to the world, to LinkedIn, to social media, to the BBC audience that you've got now as a radio DJ, is so warm, so friendly, so confident, so outgoing. But like you say, that's, dare I say, a bit of a mask, a coping mechanism that you've put on. Can we dive into that a little bit? Can we go back to you being a kid? And because the thing that I did notice, you spoke about, you felt you had this anxiety as a kid and you felt a bit socially awkward, and you found solace in reading, libraries, creativity, books.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So obviously, as a creative podcast, I want to sit into that. What was that for you?
Yeah, just give you a little bit of a nutshell of where it all started. And I was a really socially awkward kid. I grew up in a very loving, hardworking family. 2 brilliant parents that told me all the right fundamentals around what's right, what's wrong, when to say yes, please, when to say no, thank you, when not to look in a lady's purse. I'll never understand that, but that was my mum's sort of approach to things. And I was just awkward. I was shy, painfully shy.
Do you understand now why? Because
no, I still am. I still am a shy person. And we'll probably come back to that facade thing that you've nailed there.
I wouldn't say, I want to call you on it. I don't want to say facade. I would say a mask, a coping mechanism. And that's not a bad thing. I think we all have to, as humans, adapt and put those on in certain situations. But I'm just wondering, like I say, loving family, all the things. I just wonder what contributed to that anxiety.
Possibly, I've got a very overstimulated brain. I constantly think, I know we all do, but I used to grow up worried about the pain I'd be experiencing when giving birth. I've never ever had a womb or any reproductive organs. Well, I have, but not a womb, right? And that was born out of the fact that I played football off the back of me being that nervous sort of, I hate to coin this phrase because it's cool now, isn't it, to be a geek, but I was this guy that excelled at homework and academia and all that sort of stuff. And I was this guy that was just thrown in goal, the last to be picked, whatever it might be, because I didn't want to play football. I didn't want to engage with people. I was just sitting there, head down, and I just started stopping these shots and thought, I'm quite good at this. And I just found this passion, and I threw everything I had into football. I used to go and hire videos out to see how to become a goalkeeper, how to catch a ball. I was obsessed.
Obsessive personality.
Obsessive personality. So football brought me into that conversation with all the other, say not normal people, but the very streetwise kids. I went to a school in Chelmsford Wood. It was full of streetwise kids. What I was not a streetwise kid. I wouldn't be out on my bike climbing trees, not at all. I'd be in the safety of my mum and dad's house watching the telly or drawing or whatever it might be. But when I wasn't playing football, I sought refuge, if that's the right word, in library, in encyclopedias, in information. And it wasn't as easy to get then. So I'd have to go to the library or I'd have to find one of my dad's atlases. He had this big old school atlas, wherever it might be. And I just absorbed as much information as I could. And I think that then add to that a very overstimulated brain that couldn't turn itself off. And at a time when we weren't having these conversations around ADHD or, and I'm not saying compartmentalizing people, but certainly putting tags and then frameworks around those people to help them move into X, Y, and Z. I didn't have any of that support, for want of a better word, other than a very loving family. Yeah, I don't really know what happened, but I was a very socially awkward kid.
Did football help you?
Football helped me massively. Like that smell of the changing room just reminds me of
DP.
Community, DP, yeah, calamine, was it? I don't know, that like white sort of
and then a
sauce.
bit of probably teenage Lynx.
Oh yeah, Lynx Africa, mate. Which was your favourite? Can you remember? It's got to be Africa, surely.
No, there was like I don't know, they changed the flavours.
They did, didn't they? Yeah,
it was like a blue icy looking one. It was a cool.
All right, you're a bit younger than me though, aren't you? How old are you?
44.
Oh, only 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
I look a lot older
we had
than
the
you.
same. Oh, we had the same cool classic.
Yeah, we had the same generation when it comes to Lynx, let's be
definitely.
honest, yeah.
No, but I'm just, in terms of the football, obviously it takes a bit of courage then for someone who is socially awkward to put yourself into that situation.
Yeah.
And then you're almost forcing yourself to interact with all these people because you're part of a team.
Yeah.
When a lot of the time you've been quite insular.
And that bravado, that piece around, I think that was the mask that I put on quite soon, because I thought that was that bravado that we talk about connecting people. These young adults, and then I played football right until I was 40 years old. That attitude, that energy, that love for other people, you'd see that when they finish the football, they'd go and obviously have a few drinks after or a curry, whatever it might be. So that social side of things I really quite enjoyed, because it was very different to my normal world. A lot of people would think I'm an extrovert, but actually after I've had that sort of energy from people, I have to retreat for a couple of days and spend some time on my own.
Charge your own battery.
Yeah, 100%. And I've got to be really careful as to how often I do that, because I'm drawn to people. I love finding out about people and whatever. But yeah, so back to the question around how that sort of materialised. I don't really know. I suspect it's that information overload and me then just being completely anxious because I was worrying about when the dinosaurs were going to come back and eat me. Just random things like that. And then throughout school, then that sort of like looks like a very shy person that was happy just to excel at work. So I just thought, you've got to remember the schools back then. I don't really know much about the curriculum now, but there are things within the curriculum I'd love to change around creativity. But very much back then, it was even more so around, right, you will recall as much information as you can to get all these A's that we want you to get. And that's what I thought success looked like. So I was all for that. I wanted to be the top of my game when it comes to football and the top of my game when it came to all the grades. And actually I was. So in that sense, I was winning.
Was there much creativity? Because I know you said it was academia, but was there drawing, creating in that sense? Because you're overthinking in itself. That's a sign of a highly active imagination, a highly active creative brain. But you weren't navigating it and going, it was more...
No, it's weird because, like, if I said to myself now, am I creative? I would say very much so I am, because I now understand what a creative is. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're an artist or a photographer or something. But back then, I was led to believe that my natural sort of route forward would be by getting straight A's, and then my world would be my oyster. Yeah, there was art, and I took art as an option. And actually, I did a real deep piece. I was quite good at art. I was gutted.
Talk to me about your deep piece. That you
wanted to draw cartoons. I loved drawing cartoons. It's really quite poignant, actually, because I lost my mum 13 months ago. My dad brought round some books, 3 books that taught you how to draw. The good old how to draw in perspective and all this sort of stuff, and how to draw a face. And so I loved drawing cartoons. So when I took art as an option, I said to the art teacher, can I specialise in cartoons? I don't want to be drawing apples and... because I'm rubbish at real life.
The classic still life.
Yeah, it's still life. I'm rubbish at it. And she was very much, yes, of course you can. But then when I became like on her course, obviously couldn't. But the deep pit was, you had to pick like a theme, and it was man-made. And I remember drawing for my exam. It was the Statue of Liberty set in front of the Hiroshima bomb. And also, it was
wow.
Yeah, it was quite beautiful versus the sort of thing.
Destruction versus beauty.
Yeah, it was. But I messed up the Statue of Liberty's nose, unfortunately. The pencil went straight through the paper. But yeah, I love drawing. So actually, talking to Dad a lot about the past since Mum, I was drawing all the time, and I was writing poetry.
Really?
Yeah, I wrote a lot of poetry from the university. I got massively into John Donne. He's a metaphysical poet. Quite satirical, big use of the hyperbole and the vernacular, very like colloquial language. There's the flea. Oh, it's really cool, but I won't go into it. But I was obsessed with that, Shakespeare, and that all came out of my English literature A-levels. And actually, it was developed almost by, I went to Oxford University. I didn't get in, but they sent me off to do 4 days worth of matriculation. And I was in the college, I think.
What's matriculation? Just
so assessments and exams,
okay.
like old school. I used to have to wear a gown. So it was like incorporating you into the Oxford life, really, I think.
Simply because of your high-performing academia?
Yeah, I wanted to do law at Oxford. But it was born out of, I'd failed at football, if that's the right way of putting it. I was never going to be a professional footballer. That was made very clear to me at 16 years old. And then I didn't know what to do. So I just carried on that pursuit of excelling in GCSE and A-level, and all the A's followed. So the response, I suppose, from my teachers were very much go and be a lawyer, go and be a doctor, whatever it might be.
But what was the driver for you there? Was it
cash?
Cash. It's a status, esteem.
I think, kudos, yeah. So Ali McBeal was on the telly at the time, LA Law. So I had all that sort of ideation, an idea of what law could look like, dancing babies, cocktails, whatever. Callista Flockhart, I was in. But yeah, it was born out of, as a kid, like, you wanted to be a footballer. You've got no real sort of plan to do anything else. You're certainly not leaning into anything. My dad was an engineer. My mum was like a jeweler sort of thing. And mum was very much part-time. She ended up her days as a teaching assistant and working in education. She's absolutely brilliant individual. My sister's a teacher. My brother's a detective. So I thought I'll be a lawyer. Yeah, but I hated it.
And there's definitely a continuation of a story in that.
Yeah.
But there was something your dad said to you when you went to Oxford for this matriculation thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About these masks, the bravado, the shows we have to put on in certain environments sometimes.
Yeah, bang on actually, mate. So the journey had come to this point where I had my first big rejection. I wasn't going to be a footballer. I was told that was not going to happen. And that realisation was really sad. And I probably have never really, you don't unpick that as a 16-year-old because you think, oh, I'll go and make it somewhere else. But that never happened, obviously.
Do you recognise that perhaps started to build a bit more resilience in you?
Possibly, because I then got slammed with another quick rejection in relation to being told to go to Oxford University and not getting into Oxford University, even though Oxford University had phoned my teacher to say they were going to make me an offer. Really bizarre.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really bizarre. But yeah, so Dad had dropped me off to Merton College. We'd made an open application. We didn't know what to do. And he dropped me off at this most beautiful college. As a 16, 17-year-old kid, you think this is Oxford University, but this is just one of their colleges. They've got like 16, 20 of these colleges. It's huge. It's got its own chapel. It's just mental. And there's me, little old me, having him got a suit, wearing my dad's leather jacket. And it was either at this point or when he dropped me off at university. We both can't remember. But the conversation went along the lines of, you can be whoever you want to be, son. And it wasn't him saying to me, change who you are at all. He just probably saw this real awkward person that was actually good at communicating, but didn't enjoy doing it. So at that point, it triggered something in me to think, okay, maybe I can perform. If I can play this part that is connecting people and confident and loud-ish, that might help me. And it was really awkward. I'd have to be doing breathing exercises before I went into rooms. And then I played this part. And then there were so many other things that happened in my life, reality TV, whatever it might be, that sort of just added to this mask. But talking of masks, I come back to this quite a bit. It's not a joke. It might be a joke. I never deliver it as a joke. But this guy goes into the doctor and he says, Doctor, I'm feeling really down. I'm depressed. I'm sad. He said, oh, Coco the Clown's in town. Go and see him. And he replies, I am Coco the Clown. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I'm playing this part, but also carrying a weight of emotions that you don't often see. But I'm just trying to be authentic as much as I can. I do understand now I'm better at communicating. I'm not as nervous as I used to be socially. But I still get those anxieties rise up. most days.
I think we all do, don't we?
Yeah.
It's very much human problems.
Yeah, you said it's a coping mechanism. It's a crutch. We all carry crutches. Luckily, mine isn't drink or drugs. Mine is just playing this part that enables whatever that might be, conversations, connections, purpose. It just enables things because there's another 3 or 4 people feeling exactly the same. And if I can bring the best out of them by being that person that facilitates the conversation, bring it on.
And this is why we wanted you on the podcast, Pete, because it's that whole conversation we've had about, I want the podcast to inspire people to do shit that inspires them.
Yeah,
and you're living that. You are inspiring others.
I'm trying to, mate. I find it challenging because to accept that I inspire, but that's exactly what I want to do. I've had a journey that certainly isn't linear. It's Catch Me If You Can. If you've seen that film, that's the next thing. I'll be a pilot probably next week.
But like we say, I think no one sticks in an industry necessarily for 40-year career now. I think we go through season.
Yeah.
And let's just talk a little bit. You didn't get to Oxford. You went to Birmingham.
Yeah.
You're a proud Brummie.
Yep.
Proper proud Brummie. And you went to Birmingham Uni, studied law.
Yep.
But then something,
I know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not everyone, PJ from Big Brother.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember PJ from Big Brother. I'm like, yes, but that's not the reason I've got PJ on my podcast. Big Brother is a section of your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not the reason why I got you on the podcast. I'm not because you're PJ from Big Brother in inverted commas. That was basically like your last name for the 3 years.
Indeed it was.
After the event. But I'm interested in that because, for one, it wasn't really your decision to go and do that to start with, was it?
No.
But also, for someone who is so openly anxious, socially awkward, shy, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on national television. The story around this is brilliant because you had a great experience. I suppose a lot of people associate reality TV now because it is a changed entity, shall we say, with, it's a fame quest, it's a hunt for followers. It was a very different time. You were a 21-year-old guy, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know. Can we talk a little bit about that experience? Because I do think it's very interesting. What on earth was going through your mind as someone who is socially awkward to go, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go on national TV where there's cameras watching my every single move?
Good question. I think the irony is, I suspect people think I've answered this question a lot when I actually haven't, because my mates have never really asked me because they've seen me live Big Brother and sometimes feel that they need to pull me out of that and back into normality. Yeah, so long story cut very short, mate. I'd just done my degree, Birmingham Uni, absolutely loved it. I am a proud Brummie. I do actually think that might have played a part in my anxiety because we used to get beaten, didn't we, us Brummies? Or mate, we used to be the ones that, were downtrodden a little bit.
Oh, it's all the worst accent in the UK.
Yeah. And we still play the joker, don't we? We still play the fool a little bit. We certainly don't bang the drum as much as we should. And I'm sure we'll come on to that.
Yeah.
But Big Brother, mate, literally, my best mate's mum, unfortunately, she's not with us anymore. We lost her 4 weeks after we lost mum, crazy. And she was a massive Big Brother fan, like literally writing spreadsheets. She voted for him and whatever it might be. And she'd known me since I was 13. So she'd seen this confidence come out of nowhere. This PJ now facilitating conversations, going to the pub, being the ringleader, all that. The person that would have to organise the holidays, bringing people together. It'd be great for Big Brother. So I had this sort of application pack land in my mum and dad's porch. And I just filled it in, put the old VHS recorder up, and off I went, sort of thing. And that VHS recording is still out on social media somewhere. It's take. It's grainy as hell. I'm literally in my mum and dad's living room where dad now lives still. And I said something ridiculous. I must have been 20 years old saying, I want to do Big Brother because I want to get off with Natalie Imbruglia. And I got so much stick for that. Although Natalie Imbruglia sent me her whole catalogue of music, a big bunch of flowers, big sign and a voice message and everything. It was amazing.
Really?
Yeah, man. So it worked for me. I never got a date, obviously, unfortunately, but hey ho, she got bigger fish to fry. But yeah, so literally, I was at law school at the time. Luck would have it. There was about a 3 or 4 month period of like interviews and assessments and psychometric tests, whatever it might be. And they were generally on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, one of the two. And I had that day off at law school. So it was all working out for me. And yeah, like literally after that sort of 3-4 months of tests, and I met the people at Endemol and they came up and filmed me and my parents and my mates going out for a night and all this.
But even during your audition process in Birmingham, didn't you suddenly flip the switch, turned on a character, and there was probably thousands of people there trying to audition for this?
Yeah.
And what did you do, Peach?
It was, it did work, to be fair. it was at the Ibis in the Arcadian.
For anyone global, that's a hotel in Birmingham.
Yeah, there's a hotel in the Arcadian in Birmingham, and we had to meet there. So imagine, and me, I didn't think anything genuinely. When they asked me to go, I thought it would be literally, I'd open a door and go and have an interview or something. Genuinely, I was so naive as to what might be ahead of me. But I turned up, there's this huge, massive pop idol, Britain's Got Talent vibe queue. Loads of people. And I thought, I ain't waiting in that. No way. And then I thought, actually, there must be some scouts knocking about to see how people react. People are going to be going into this house not knowing each other. So did my breathing exercises, played the part, put the mask on, went straight up to the bouncers or the security at the front and said, I'm here for the Big Brother auditions. And they were like, so are they?
You and these 3,000 people.
Yeah. But I said, no, it's all right, mate. They've asked me to come straight to the queue, like straight to you and ask you to let me in. They looked at me like I was no, honestly, mate, why would I lie? Blah, blah, blah. They go off. Must have asked somebody, let me in. So there was already hundreds of people within this sort of reception area. And I now know that there were scouts in there just seeing how people react. So I played that part. I was single. We did one assessment that day when it was like, if you could ask anybody a question, what would it be? And I just said, it's number 13. Have you got a boyfriend? She said, yeah. I said, can I ask another question? They said, yeah. I said, do you reckon it'll last? She said, not sure. I said, can I ask another question? I said, do you fancy a date tonight?
Yeah.
But I just felt so awkward saying that. And even saying it to you now makes me cringe because that wasn't the person I was. But I knew that I would be looking for certain characters to put into this show. Maybe it's an intelligence, or I don't know whether that's the right words. I don't know.
A skill set and adaptability.
I don't know. But that's what I did, and I got into the show. And actually, one of the interesting things was that when I came out, I got to spend some time with the producers, and you don't see what's going on. You don't realise you've got a cameraman on you forever whilst you're in there, just in case you blow off in your sleep or you say something, snore, whatever. So you learn so much more about the show that you've just been in, because getting in is just a frenzy. It's crazy. But I said, why did you pick me? Why did you call me? And maybe we can talk about that conversation when they asked me to do it, because that was quite a pivotal part in my life.
Okay.
And they showed me, and it was a bit of a screen, really. Like you can imagine Pop Idol, they're all putting people into different judge categories or whatever it might be. And it just said, PJ, every man's man. So I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, you told me that you've just been at Oxford University for assessments and you've got friends, say friends, people I played football with who are now in jail. But you've also doing X, Y. I could communicate with loads of different people.
Every man's man.
Every man's man.
How poignant is that now?
Yeah, it feels that way.
Hindsight, we obviously haven't told the rest of the story with you yet, but people, when we get to the end of it and we go, PJ, every man's man.
He could be a guy you have on. Phil Edgar Jones, head of Sky Arts. He said that to me. He was head of Endemol at the time.
Really?
Lovely gentleman. His daughter's a massive actor. I can't remember her name, but she's very famous. And he's a lovely guy. He was the one that said it. But just to backtrack a little bit, I would never have done that experience, an experience that has probably shaped me a lot more than I'll ever think.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. I had a moment where I had to decide whether to go on. You have all this fun. You're 19, 20, being put up on these beautiful hotels on a Tuesday night, being told there's no other contestants auditioning here tonight, but you go down to the bar and there's loads of young ladies and gentlemen and you think, these are them, You get your £20 expenses, you have a few beers, and you have all that experience of getting down on the train and all that. It's proper. What's the word? It grew me at a time where I didn't have as much confidence.
That's what I was going to ask. Experiencing all these things must have been helping with your confidence.
Yeah, it was developing me one way or another. I had to go and find these places in London. We didn't have the maps on your phones back then.
It was an A to Z.
Yeah, it was literally. I remember I may have even drove to one, and you write down M6. Junction 2 left.
Join M25. M1,
M25. I can't believe there weren't any more crashes. But yes, so I remember Phil Edgar Jones, he called me. We just dropped my brother. I say me and my dad. Dad was driving. Just dropped Tom, my brother, to the train station. He was at university in Sheffield. Phil called me. Dad had this massive mobile phone. It's like the size of a brick attached to the front of his car. And he answered. And Phil said, look, Peach, you're the first call we're making. We want to know whether you'd be in Big Brother, because by then you'd had a letter saying you're in the last 24, say you're either going to be one of the 12 housemates or you're one of the 12 standbys. And about 3 days after that, I remember reading the post on the toilet. Mum and Dad slid it under you got some post. And I was having a poo maybe or something, I don't know. And I remember reading this thinking, wow, this is bizarre. This could mean something here. And it was at that point that I started to research all the photographs that started coming out in Sun. This is what the new house looks like. And I started to visualize me being in there thinking, they're definitely going to ask me to do it now. I never, ever thought I'd be a standby.
You were visualizing yourself.
Yeah,
in that.
well, I now know I was. I didn't know that was a thing to do, but I used to literally go on to wherever it was, MSN, Sky, and they'd leak these photographs of what the Owl Street Studios was going to look like. And I just remember thinking, oh, I'll be on that sofa. How cool's that? So yeah, anyway, fast forward back to Phil, give us a call. I said, mate, can I just have 5 minutes and can you call me that, please?
What are you feeling in that moment?
Well, it's bizarre, mate, because I'm getting like my adrenaline's building up now just thinking of it, because it just must have been that whole, it was like the world stood still. Everyone was walking around this car, but in that moment in time for me, it was just bizarre. So I looked at my dad. My dad's just really, he's a brilliantly clever, like the most clever person I would ever meet. Wow. Like super intelligent, but so grassroots. And when I say grassroots, a real geezer. He had a lot of struggle in his life. He lost his dad really early, lost his mum at 21 years old. He was a real mommy and daddy's boy, Catholic upbringing, just a sound guy. And he just looked at me, he said, just don't have any what if moments. And wow, how profound is that?
Your dad's full of these. He's had, don't have any what if moments.
Yeah.
You can be who you want to be. That idea of reinventing yourself.
Mate, honestly, I told you, he's a clever geezer, man. He's
modern day philosopher.
He is. He's well read. He used to read like 3-4 books a week.
Do you think that's where you got that?
Yeah, I think so. He's just, I would say, if you look at if you class people as intelligent because of grades and jobs, the Ellises do all right in that sense. But it's so much more than that now. I don't agree with judging people because you don't find the creatives of this world, do you? Because my son is a creative. He was showing me the videos. I'll show you later. These videos he's created on CapCut and stuff are incredible. Like the layers, the transparent. He's only 14. He's taught that himself. So he will be a creative. He's acting, he's writing, he's drawing.
Well, we've got to inspire that. You've got to push
yeah,
it.
man. But he'll be, his next steps, if anything, could be dictated by whether he gets an A star in DT. He's going to get an A star in DT, but what does that mean? And equally, he doesn't give a monkeys about education. He's got a head on his shoulders that he already knows that won't define him, which is great. But the challenges are, as a parent, you're like, you need to get those grades, but you don't.
No.
But yeah, my dad was just so profound. Don't have a what if moment, son. So I thought, well, I'll have to say yes. And I am so glad with hindsight now that, that I didn't have a what if moment, because I genuinely believe that would have been a heavier burden to carry than not doing it. And I apply that into a lot of my things in life. I'd much prefer to do and fail than have a what if moment.
Choose your regrets.
Yeah, 100%. What was that? Choose your regrets.
Choose your regrets.
Yeah, I love that. Choose your regrets.
Because whatever choice you make, we've chosen to sit down today. You could have chosen to go out for lunch with your missus and probably had a lovely day or whatever. But we
have to do that later.
And shout out to Kelly because
that's how we met,
yeah,
basically.
well, essentially, yeah, isn't it?
So I think that thing you said earlier about I'm now more comfortable with the fact that I've had a number of chapters and stories in my life, projects, whatever that might be, seasons, but however we look at it, yeah. And I've been able to edit where and how those sit in my life and how important they play out in other people's lives. And to be that master of creating your own sort of like film or video. I even have a backstory. I even have like music playing in the background when I'm thinking of things or walking. Mate, everyone has your own soundtrack. That's right. Yeah, I think it's really important to understand that. Yeah, choose your own regrets, man. I love that.
Yeah, you have to choose your regrets, and if we don't know, do we? Because if you hadn't gone on Big Brother, the trajectory of what your life would have been like would have been very different. I'm now a massive believer of if I hadn't opened that door into your studio today and had this conversation, my life would have been very different. And it's, Big Brother was a massive, massive part in my life for a million reasons. I just want to say that because, as I say, you openly suffered from the social anxiety. Yes, I think with the football and the university and the mask that you put on, you'd almost developed this second persona that was maybe not as difficult to get into as you might think. But underlying it, that anxiety is still very brave to go, that's all very well. A lot of people can talk the talk, but doing the thing.
Thanks, mate. It was really tough, actually, because... And this was another interesting thing about when I came out, because they're very open with you at the start to say you will play a pawn in our entertainment show. What they do at one stage, you go and have an interview with he was the famous psychologist. He'd come on and analyse the contestants and whatever. I can't remember his name. I think he was French. And one of the stages was he absolutely ripped me apart. And I now know he did that with all the other contestants.
Intentionally.
So on the way home on the train, I was asking myself questions that I really needed to ask. This is going to ruin your law career. You're going to have people vilify you, bully you, spit at you. You know, I'm thinking, why is he telling me this?
Almost doing like the, should we
reverse
say, the
psychology,
shadow work behind it to let you know that this could not be the best experience.
Whether that's a tick box exercise, whether it's psychologically sound, but it worked for me because on that train as a 20-year-old, I did ask myself those questions that you probably wouldn't have because you're just thinking about, oh, I'm going to meet loads of fit girls in this house. It's going to be great fun.
But as an overthinker, did you play out some crazy scenarios?
Yeah, I did. And it answered a lot of questions that I never would have asked. Did I really want to be a lawyer? Didn't really care. I hadn't even started my career, but if it ruined my law career, so what? I wasn't there in the sense that I would take a massive risk knowing it would ruin my career. And one of the sort of, you had the luxury, I suppose, of being told 3 things from the outside world because we had nothing coming in, no stimuli. You know, we didn't know who was playing in the football World Cup, and that makes it really difficult. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. But one of those communication pieces was if the law firm that I was going to practice with in the September communicated with Endemol that it was ruining my career, I could make the decision then to come out. And I never got that from them. So yeah, they were really forward thinking.
What were the other 2?
Whether there was a death in the family,
of course,
or I think an outbreak of war or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was quite deep. Yeah. I didn't really care about what England were.
No,
because we used to get people tell us over the fence.
Yeah,
because you don't realise Elstree Studios is so close to a housing development. I used to get up dead early. I don't sleep very well, and this one geese, I'd love to find him. If you're listening, let us know. I'd get up at 5:30, sitting there. I was on the poor side making some bread or whatever, and I'd get this guy. He'd obviously just watch us live. Oh, PJ's up. He'd run out. PJ. You prat, whatever. And we'd have a little chat, and then Big Brother would call me in quickly, PJ to the diary room sort of thing.
No communication with the outside world.
So he used to tell us how England were getting on and stuff. But it was a struggle. So you saying brave, I appreciate that. Thank you. You didn't realise you were being brave. But 2 things happened, I suppose. The experience was a lot different to what I thought it would be. Because after, say, a week, I was in there for 6-7 weeks, so I can't remember exactly what it was, 60 days, I think. It's a long time. And after 3-4 days, you're done with the standard questions. What's your family like? What do you do? What would you like to do? Who do you support? What's your favourite telly?
Talk.
Yeah, all the small talk. Yeah, and it's gone. All that stuff after. You can't say, do you watch EastEnders last night? See the football? Because you've got nothing to talk about. So it goes really deep. And those conversations it takes you places that you never thought you would be in a house that you thought was just about jumping into a swimming pool.
With people that you perhaps never thought you would be meeting either.
Yeah. And also, when you came out, Phil and the team were like, actually, because I said, my mum and dad had said to all my mates, well, we didn't even see you the first couple of weeks. And they were like, actually, we had to pull you away from being in the limelight for the first 2 weeks because we wanted you to stay in. But you were very different to what we'd seen. So we were just working out what role you were going to play because they expected me to go in and be this bravado. But actually, there were real alpha males in there. Alison Hammond, Johnny Regan, Kate Lawler, big, strong characters, Alex Sibley. And there's me, the real person going, can't cope with this. So I withdrew for a couple of weeks and I was like, what's going on here? I'm not saying they chose who went. It's an entertainment show they've got to put on. So they were just working out what part I played. So that's really interesting as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, I do think it's a brave thing to do, especially then because it was a proper social experiment.
That's what I was about to say. It's a very different thing now, isn't it?
Well, I think now you go in, you can make a lot of money, you can get your Instagram likes. Again, there's a bravery there because I couldn't have coped with the social media sort of reaction that some of these kids get now. I mean, Alison Hammond, people like that, they get it all the time.
Even now? Because she's so much in the public eye?
Yeah, she gets some very angry people, very rude, racist. It's disgusting. But she says she can cope with it, and I hope she can. But there's only so much you can do. No, you shouldn't. But unfortunately, we live in a world where people want to have an opinion and we sometimes take their opinion on board when we shouldn't. So, yeah, I'd struggle with that. So it's brave to do that sort of thing anyway. But back then it was, I think, more for me, psychologically, it could have led into so many different things. So I did see people get attacked off the back of it and verbally abused. I was very lucky. I never got anything. I might have got a bloke say I was a prat or something when you go to a PA, but it was nothing physical.
You had that over the wall anyway.
Yeah, get that anyway. Do you know what I mean? It was just a bit of jealousy, maybe. I don't know, not jealousy, but there's me getting paid to go on a stage and sign autographs. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I was very lucky. Everyone was so lovely to me, and I had a great experience.
And you had an agent and all that sort of stuff, and
Yeah, I had the same agent as David Beckham at one point. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it, to be fair? I think they got paid by E4 or Endemol to be the agent of people that, there were 6 or 7 people that pushed that way, and I was one of those. And it was great. I made a lot of money very quickly, none of which I have anymore, nor invested. However...
But you were a young lad, you're 21,
Yeah,
22.
you know what? My dad gave me some advice as well. He's a bit of an oracle, isn't he? And it was like 110% mortgages back then. So I didn't even need a deposit. So he'd worked out what I would have been getting paid. And he did say, maybe you want to look at buying some houses or whatever. It was very fleeting. He might not even remember saying it. He might not have even been him that said it. I just always attribute cool things to mum or dad. But I never did that. Instead, I went with the fast cars, the fast lifestyle, nice flat in town. And if I'm honest, those years certainly defined a lot of what I'm all about now. And I'm very grateful for them.
Can you say a little bit more about that? Because I guess the trappings of, again, it's very different now, but the trappings of celebrity culture, shall we say, was, we touched on it earlier, you wanted to go into law because it was a status thing, a money thing, a cash thing. Is there a bit of that wrapped up in that?
Yeah, possibly. I think what the Big Brother thing allowed me to do was to have a very sort of small insight into what it is to be a professional footballer. Because as a young kid, I was driving fast cars, living in a beautiful house, lots of disposable income, the fame with the lowercase f. There were people queuing out the doors to see me. It was ridiculous.
OK Magazine.
Oh, yeah, front of OK Mag. Yeah, Lotus. Yeah, it was just crazy. Some of these experiences I can't even remember, and some that I can remember can't certainly tell. It was just mad.
Yeah.
But I think I soon realised that I'm not saying I could have done anything with it. I did have opportunities I turned down, but there was a clear line in the sand that I drew after 3 years. I thought, actually, there's a lot more to life than living the way that I was. I was partying hard.
What was it? What was the catalyst at that point that made you go, hang on a minute?
I was 24, 25. I'd been living off Big Brother, say, for 3-4 years. And I just didn't feel fulfilled. And there was a lack of confidence. I was being asked to present and do stuff on TV, and I just didn't back myself. So actually, I withdrew back into the old PJ and thought, actually, the safety net here is to go and practice as a lawyer, which I did for 8 years. And I got back to that money piece, which was nice and stable and afforded us a lovely life. And the kudos, as in I was able to say, well, I've had that time in my life. That will never make my CV. I need to start dictating what that CV looks like now.
Was that a hard transition for you to make in your brain? Because obviously, public recognition,
possibly
fame, and then suddenly...
Possibly. So publicly, I've never had a no, like, to my face. So I've always thought that it's never, created a ceiling, this Big Brother thing. But it would have done behind closed doors. I'm sure people would have had an opinion. And I did sense that sometimes because people were interested in what I'd done, sort of thing. And it was probably less, oh, wow, you're a good lawyer, and more, oh, you've done Big Brother. Because I was, as you said, you joked earlier, my name was PJ from Big Brother 3 for about 10 years. No one knew my surname. So I had to live that. That was my responsibility. I knew that would be something. I never denied people because they were watching it. It was a big part of their lives as much as it was mine.
But did it feel like a burden around your neck?
Yeah, a bit of an albatross, because I did want to move on and away, sort of thing. And I was being dragged back into that conversation, and whether I started playing that part more and being less serious. But actually, you know what? I think fun is an underrated business tool, and I was having fun. And I delivered all the work that I was paid to do. But what happened was there was a very obvious point where my wife had turned to me and said, you're not the person, you're not you. This job is hamstringing creativity.
While you're back in the law, this is?
Yeah. So she said, just give it up. And I was like, you what? We just bought a lovely house. We just had a kid. Yeah, call it a day. And I was like, wow, you backed me that much? She said, yeah, of course I would. And I owe her everything because, I just left law, and it took me a while to build back into that sort of that money coming into the house. But we found a way. We never missed a payment. It's bizarre, isn't it? Sometimes when you think you're so focused on the money, how am I going to replace that? You just find a way. We never, ever, I wasn't working for a while, say 3-4 months maybe.
How long had you been with Kelly at this point?
So we'd been married. So that would mean I've been with her for at least 3 years. And I think when we bought our house, we'd been married about 2 years. So probably 6-7 years.
But did you meet Kelly as a lawyer, or did you meet her as PJ from Big Brother?
Interesting. Let me work this out. I just started going back into my training contract, because what I had to do was, so I'd done the law degree. I'd done my legal practice course, law school, basically. Then I'd went into Big Brother, and you have to do your articles, like a training contract, 2 years. And I was doing that in London. So that's when I met Cal. So I was about to go back. I'd obviously done Big Brother. She knew who I was. She wasn't a fan of me in the house.
I was gonna say, do you think
She fancied Spencer? Everyone did.
But do you think the personality type that you were back then, do you think, as I say, you said she didn't fancy you, but do you think she could have fallen in love with that PJ? Because I think the importance on this, Kelly, and the importance of having someone in your corner to back you enough to go, fuck that law career that you've just trained however many years for.
Yeah.
I believe there's something in you. And also, what do you think she would have fallen in love with PJ from Big Brother rather than PJ the lawyer? And what was it that, apart from her loving you exclusively, what was it you think she saw in you that gave her the belief to go, let's just disrupt this whole family environment we've got. We've got a new house. Yeah. We might not have any money for a bit, but I see.
I think so. Kelly has been like my rock. Like, she's been one of my biggest fans. And when I say that, she believes that I could do anything I want, genuinely. And she always backs me in that sense. But it's also backed up by the most beautiful sort of attitude to life, in that if we were safe and we could afford to eat, she doesn't mind where that is. She doesn't care. She's not materialistic. Success to me has looked very differently over different decades of my life.
Okay, so very different. You've touched on the materialistic elements, the nice cars, the nice lifestyle of lawyer and this, that, and the other. But Kelly sounds like she's your balance.
100%,
she just wants you.
Just brings it back down. Just brings it back down to earth. What's important in life, and I know this more than ever now since losing mum. This perspective, unfortunately, has been wrapped up in grief. And my mum's overpaid for this like everlasting gift. But I had it anyway, because Kelly was constantly giving me this perspective in that it doesn't really matter what car we drive. The car will still get you to that destination. You just got to be happy. You've got to be happy. You've got to be confident in yourself, that you've got to value your own self. When I first met her, she just did things very methodically. I get this car because I can afford this car and it gets me to the destination I need to go to. I'm doing a job that I love. That was her main consistent. She always wanted to work in radio. And she worked in radio for as long as I knew her.
Until she fell, radio.
There we go, until she fell pregnant. And unfortunately, I spoiled her dreams of going to London, because she was sought after. She was a brilliant producer. But yes, she's just brought this consistency around what's important in life. And she's starting to treat herself a little bit more now and enjoy those parts of her life that she never really thought she'd want to enjoy, but she does. But her consistency has been brilliant for me, because she just gives you that framework and that reminder that all those material things, all those things that I now own and I would give away in an instant to spend a second with my mom, she doesn't care for. And actually, nor do I now. So she was able to spot that actually, if you're unhappy in your work, that is something that needs to change, because all the other beautiful things in life that come with you being happy and comfortable and stable would never have happened for me, because I would have just been so anxious and just bored and lethargic and worries me. So she snapped me right out of that, supported me ever since.
There's something to be said for having that person in your corner that believes in you that much, right?
Oh yeah, man. She's literally like, there's only a few people in this world, probably name them on one hand, and I won't, because I'll probably upset the others that should be on the left hand. She just understands me. Yeah. And my mum was my main go-to when I needed someone to just understand. And she just understands. She gets my complexities. She understands my anxieties. And she fell in love with that person that is a little bit of a troubled soul, I think. And she's not out there to fix me or save me. She's not one of those people. But I think she understood I was vulnerable. She saw through the bravado Big Brother. She didn't care for that. And we fell in love very quickly. It became very easy for both of us. We sort of moved in the second night, because I think we were both at that point we were just looking for some like companionship, some sort of stability, some sort of normality. She'd just come out of not just come out of, but she'd had a challenging sort of relationship quite young, thinking that was the way to go. She'd bought a house on her own, got all that independence, and she was living the life that I still don't think I could live now from an independence point of view. And she brought me into that life, and I'm grateful for that. I really am.
So you've got that backing.
Yep.
You decide to ditch out of that law career that you've been in for such a long time.
Yeah, about 8-9 years, man. Yeah.
What's the mentality? What are you feeling? What are you going, I want to do this. I don't know what I want to do. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah. I must admit, there was a period of time where I was like trying to help set up a professional golf tour or development golf tour with a friend. helping set up this music wedding video company, selling sweets online, selling retro cycling jerseys online. All brilliant, creative, entrepreneurial sort of things to do, but certainly a process of me trying to work out what I wanted to do. And actually, you know what? I'll be honest with you now. My brain is always thinking of other things that I could do, but they're always focused now around sort of purpose, which is what came into my life unbeknown to me through becoming a dad. So we'd had Blake, and I'd found Twitter, or X, whatever they call it now. And I stumbled across this journey about a lad called Harry Moseley, young kid. He was dying. It was simple as that. There's no way of saying it other than that. And he had a brain tumour. So but whilst he knew that, and the family knew that, he was creating these bracelets and selling them outside supermarkets, and some celebrities got involved with it and what have you, and it was blowing up. And he was only 8, I think, Harry Moseley. And I had this sort of morbid fascination where I knew he was going to die. I just had this child that I was looking at every night. I was crying at the John Lewis adverts because I'd found this heart that I never thought I had. And I just felt like I needed to be around this journey. It was weird. I can't really articulate it. Knowing the young boy was going to pass away. He passed away, and I thought, I've got to do something now. So I reached out and I said, look, how can I help? I met his mom and said, look, I'll do a golf day or something. And this golf day just turned into something that was just mental, absolutely mental. I was still a lawyer at that time. But yeah, just the response was crazy. And me and the wife ended up in marriage counselling because of it, because I was working in the day until 8 o'clock at night, coming in having my tea, and then working until 3 o'clock in the morning to set this thing up. And it turned into a 1,200 people black tie event in the ICC, and we raised over 120 grand. It was just mental, yeah. Which me and my mate, Tim Andrews, created. We talked about sliding doors moment earlier. I got to about 3 months into setting this thing up, still knowing then that it had to be a ball because the response was just ridiculous. It couldn't be a golf day. And I just went to Facebook and said, can somebody help me? And actually, Tim Andrews popped his hand up, proverbially across Facebook. I'll help you, mate. Next day, we met somewhere. And the rest is history. We put this inaugural Harry Moseley charity ball on. We raised 100 odd grand. We did the second one the next year, raised another 100 odd grand. Tim had organised this sort of bike ride from Switzerland back to Birmingham. We did that. We raised another 300 grand. And I was hooked. They asked us to be a trustee of the charity, which we were for 2 years. And then off the back of that, Love Brum was born with me and Tim. So like that sliding doors moment is crazy.
But again, problem solving for other people is simply a creative skill.
Yeah, if you put it like that, mate, I thought it was a skill that I brought to the table because I was a lawyer. That's how it was easy for me to think that way. They want me around this charity because I can fill forms in, or I can have good conversations, or I'm good at negotiating. But actually, if I look back at it, I was creating things. That charity ball still goes on there, and that charity's been going for 14, 15 years.
Wow.
So that charity ball, I'm not saying it's all on me, but that would have raised hundreds and hundreds, dare I say, probably nearly a million quid for that charity.
Yeah.
And me and Tim set that up. And that I'm really proud of that. Really proud.
And you should be very, very proud of that. But again, you've still come out of a law career. You've obsessed about this. You found this sense of purpose.
Yeah.
But yet you don't consider yourself a creative. But then you have your own business called Lightbox, which is essentially a creative agency.
Yeah, that was bizarre because I've never made any money from Love Brum or Harry Moseley. It's all voluntary. So obviously I had to think about how to make money. And it was a guy who asked me to do some business development work for him because everyone just thought I had a decent network, that I was a good salesperson. And that was in the creative space. That was actually in a digital marketing company. And I won't go into it, but you get all these promises that one day you could be involved with this business. I'd always wanted to own my own business. And that never happened. So when that didn't, I thought, you know what? I know this business through and through now. I've been selling the products and services into big clients. And I was fascinated, like the mathematical brain that I have, the A plus B equals C. What's the word? I do that. I do like when things are facts. I still struggle sometimes when it's ideation stuff. I love it. I love the big ideas. But I sometimes get that comfort from knowing that A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
So I loved the paid advertising side to social media. So I set my own paid advertising agency up called Blake 7. My son's called Blake. My daughter was born on the 7th of July. And it went crazy. Like for the first 2 years, about 18 months, 2 years, just went. And I was like, wow, this is nice.
Would you consider yourself a creative at that point?
Nah, still no, not at all. I didn't really know what a creative was. I still probably thought a creative was a photographer or an artist. Or, not person that was suggesting marketing campaigns, and which I was, and creating return on people's investment and time and energy and assets, ideas and brand and storytelling, all that sort of stuff. And then basically, story cut short, brilliant guy called Rob Pollard. He just said, look, I'm growing my business, Lightbox. Do you want part of it? So we merged. So I went from like admin and two people working for me to a team of 20 odd overnight. And we grew that to about 30 members of staff. COVID hit and it all started being very different as to how we pivoted and what we offered. But yeah, we did that together for about 5 years. And then that was 2 years ago when I decided to cash in my shares and move on. And he then merged with a much bigger agency. So he's now a managing director in one of their sort of departments up in Manchester. And I suspect he's gone from a 30-man team to something like 200 or something. So,
but yeah, again, that another different season of your life.
Yeah, it was a great season. It was a stressful season because we just bought this huge, beautiful, stunning office. And because the clients we were onboarding at that point, I think wanted that experience. And then COVID struck and the whole world changed. No one wanted to come into offices, both clients and employees. So we had this, it was massive. It was absolutely beautiful. We had these brilliant events from there eventually when we could go back in. But the burden that came from a cash sort of point of view, and it was just really challenging. But we were fine. We got through it. And that resilience was a real lesson and a learn, like my now business partner, Andy Dawson, would say, a good friend of mine. It's not a lesson, it's a learn. And I had loads of learns at Lightbox, loads around how to network, how to communicate better, how to lead. I realised I wasn't a brilliant leader. I'd like to think I'm a good people's person, but I'm rubbish at giving bad news. I don't want to upset people. I'm obsessed with, not obsessed, but I care. I did then. I care too much about what people think of me.
Too much, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was hamstrung by wanting to be liked all the time. So I was challenged, or rather I found it difficult to deliver bad news or to be not authoritarian, because you can lead, through inspiration and stuff. I think maybe I was too dictatorial sometimes because I don't know whether I'm a natural leader in that sense from a business perspective. I think I am from a community building side of things and charity, third sector, playing with purpose. I think people follow me. I'm not entirely sure from a business perspective. I don't know. Maybe that's just beating myself up because we had a successful business, right?
Yeah.
All the trappings again of the fast cars and the big offices. But actually during that sort of journey, I realized that ego piece, the big office, the big veneer sort of desk with your own office, I didn't really want or need, because the universe was telling me you didn't need it. I was being dictated to by a global pandemic. You didn't need to operate at that level. You didn't need that desk. You didn't need that car. You didn't need that office to operate at the level that you wanted to operate at, that gave you the life that you wanted.
Hey, sorry for interrupting. This is just a quick reminder that if you're enjoying this episode, there are a couple of really easy ways that you can support the podcast. You can hit the support the show link in the show notes, or consider grabbing yourself something from the Creative Noahland shop on the website. And don't forget, community members get free shipping on all orders. So before you buy anything, be sure to join. Thanks again for being part of the Creative Noahland community. And now, let's get back into it.
So yeah, I'm very grateful for all of my lessons. And then that led me into, by that time, I'd set up Love Brum. And
let's talk a little bit about Love Brum, because again, it's that idea of you, PJ, almost putting other people before yourself.
Yeah.
Championing our region, championing our city, championing the people of the region.
Yeah.
Again, it's this kind of, you've spoken in other podcasts about how there's no selfless acts.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Love Brum. What's Love Brum to you? What does it mean?
Yeah.
What's the why?
I think you're bang on there. I think someone told me recently that there can't be a selfless act. And I was quite taken by that. I was like, what do you mean? I do this for the love of it. But actually, she was like, no, I'll challenge you there. You feel good, right? I said, yeah, well, it's not selfless. You're getting something from it. It was all born out of the fact that when we were helping grow the Harry Moseley charity, Help Harry Help Others, a brilliant charity that does so many brilliant things for kids that are suffering with cancer and their families. I think without wrapping it up in just telling you as crassly as I can without offending, it felt easy. to raise money at that time because it was a very wet-nosed charity. It was a young kid that, bless him, had lost his life and people wanted to help. But we soon realised that there were so many small projects, community-led, grassroots, people that are going out, getting their fingernails dirty, that are making real tangible change in our city. Change that we all want to see. So I thought there's got to be a way of shining the spotlight on these people. So I didn't know what that looked like. Well, no one did really. And I went to New York and I saw this project called the Humans of New York Project. You'll know it, being a photographer. And for those that don't, it's beautiful photography. Some of people that may look like they've made a few wrong decisions. And then you turn the photograph around and you'll realise that person is a trained ballerina, whatever. But it's about the people behind the photograph. So I thought there must be something here around the people behind the project in Birmingham. How do we lift them up? How do we raise money for them? How do we shine a light on them? And how do we, at the same time, in doing all that, restore some civic pride into our city? Because we're at a time where, and again, with the greatest respect, and I know why these cities are chosen to be city of culture, but Birmingham wasn't in the press. No one was celebrating Brum. And I just got peeved, man. I thought, hang on, Birmingham has got so much. And I'm a big fan of talking about the past. I really am, because that sets the now. But I don't think we talk enough about the now and the then, the future. Ozzy Osbourne, Jasper Carrot, Lenny Henry, Industrial Revolution. Yes, I love that in the narrative.
And look how we've just showed up as a city for
yeah,
Ozzy.
Man. But don't forget what the leaders we have now, the inspirers now, the people that have been inspired by that and what's going to happen in the future. You know, that story's there. I just don't think we tell it enough. But anyway, that was a political part of Love Brum with a lowercase p. And me and Tim went to Old Contemptibles with a guy called Dave McLean, lovely guy, brilliant guy.
By the way, the Old Contemptibles is a pub.
Yeah, Old Contemptibles pub, 15 pints later.
Oh, dear.
I woke up in the morning, registered this URL, Love Brum. What the hell's that? And the rest is history. So Love Brum it started from nothing. Social first, digitally native, whatever we want to call it. Me and Tim and Dave just spent 6 months going to Birmingham, asking everyone and anyone, this is our idea. Do we need it as a city? Will you back it? And the resounding answer was yes. And what we were pitching was, this is going to be a community of people, projects, whatever it might be, that unearth, locate, find hidden gem projects across this city that are delivering tangible change that we can touch, feel, enjoy, smell, that are making a change within our communities. And they're going to be across things like art, culture, education, community, people in crisis, elderly, all those things that aren't that sexy, right?
Yeah.
But have brilliant projects that are propping them up, projects that don't even know how to use social media, projects that certainly don't take selfies of them giving out food to the homeless. They're doing it for the real reasons and often are failing or falling apart because they haven't got the resource, they haven't got any capacity within those projects to keep them going. So we connected them with people that wanted to give their time, the most important, valuable commodity, most important asset that you can give away. People, I was connecting them with accountants to set up their QuickBooks, photographers to help them with brand, social media experts to set up a website, whatever it might be, and then going to the corporates to give them cash, microfunding, £500, £1,000, £2,000, not much money.
But to small charities like that,
make the world a difference. £2,000, they bought 50 Macathon books that then would deliver training to 2,000 kids and their families who have Down syndrome every year.
Wow.
So we could look at the social impact. It was just huge, absolutely huge. Now, again, I'm not knocking these huge charities that have to be huge to do the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
But if I was going to put £2,000 into that charity, it would make very little difference.
Yeah.
You put £2,000 over to this community project.
Tangible change.
Oh, my word. We're talking sustainable kitchens built on the top of houses. We're talking real life advice around neonatal death. We're talking about, I just could go on forever. And we've funded over 400 projects.
Wow.
It's just like
the impact
amazing.
You and that charity have made in that time is probably immeasurable, because you'll never know the impact that it will have on someone down the chain.
I mean, I still get emails saying, you funded this project, we've been going for 12 years, 6 years ago, I've just come across it and I'm now using it with X, Y, and Z. Yeah, so the ripple effect is still happening. But 10 years in, which was 2 years ago, I think, trying to work out my dates, 2013, yeah. I called it a day. So I'm no longer around Loughborough. Like accidentally, we did some real succession planning. We've got a real good board of different types of energy and age. Me and Tim are getting on. Like Tim's still around, he's chairman or whatever. But I decided to walk away, which was really challenging for me.
Say more. Why did you decide to walk away?
Yeah.
And why was it so challenging?
So challenging because I absolutely love it. Challenging.
And those selfless acts, it made you feel good.
Yeah, it made me feel good.
Right?
Like I was supporting Birmingham. We were connecting thousands of people. It wasn't just the projects that were benefiting here. We were giving people volunteering opportunities. We were connecting businesses with their CSR strategies. It was like I could tick a box all day long about the things that we were doing. But it was twofold, really. One, my mum told me not to do it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, she just
Why
said...
did Marion say that?
Oh, thanks for remembering her name, Marion. Yeah, God bless her. I think she just saw that when you're saying yes, you're also saying no to something, aren't you? And I was saying yes to things that was... my mum is family first, like staunchly loyal. The Irish in mum, well, she wasn't Irish herself, but she grew up around Irish family. My dad's family are pure Irish. I think my mum's Italian somewhere. I used to say to the girls growing up, I'm Irish Italian. But her mum was beautiful, genuinely like beautiful, dark skinned, pretty lady. But she just thought I was neglecting my kids. So I was waiting until 2 a.m. to do X when literally my son was saying, can I play football, Daddy? And I lost 8 years to my son. Like it took me a long time to regenerate that relationship. And my mum and dad saw that a mile off. So she said, you can only do so much for others for so long when you're not neglecting. She never said that because she always said I was a good dad. But
is that one of the regrets with the small R?
Massive, yeah, massive.
Oh, massive.
That's probably the biggest regret, my relationship with my son. He's brilliant now. But
at that point, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a relationship with my son. I was coming home. I was just leaving him with my mum. I wasn't neglecting him. I just wasn't expecting. He would ask me, can I go to the park? Yeah, I didn't give him the time in a minute. And I never gave it him. So that non-negotiable now, if I go home and I'm ill and he says, should we do a bike ride? I'm doing it. Work can wait. People can wait. I'll just do it. And it gives me so much. So mum had said, she didn't tell me not to do it, but she said, you should consider not doing it. And then I promised her I'd never set up another charity. I've set up 2 since. But, all going through.
But we'll get on to that because that is also a testament to you and your mother, I think.
And the other one was very much the reason why I was challenged because I've got the fear of missing out because I love being around that community. I mean, I'll always be co-founder of Loughborough, right? No one can ever take that away from me. But there was other things I wanted to explore. And Dave McLean, actually, who is fundamentally a co-founder of Loughborough because he was there at the start and helped us like commercially set it up a little bit. He never wants to be known as a co-founder, but he said he left after 2 years and he said, you should know when it's time to move on.
You know when your exit point is.
I know I've done enough. And at 10 years, I looked around, I thought, I've done enough. My energy was waning. The time I could commit to it had reduced because I wasn't making any money from it.
You'd made sacrifices in your own
100%. I was rebuilding a relationship with my son. I had a daughter that I love and treasure, and we have a great relationship. And my wife and my family. So it was great. It happened at a great time. Tim tried to convince me to stick around, but he said, I'll have a hiatus. She disappeared for 12 months to make a decision. I said, I'm telling you the decision now, mate. I've got to go. And it's brilliant people still around the project, and it still does things slightly differently to how we set things up for a number of reasons, but they're still doing great things.
But all down to Marion?
For me moving on, 100%. And that started a new phase of my life. Unfortunately, hers came to an end during that period because she told me that, gave me that advice probably for the last 3 or 4 years. I actioned that 2 years ago and unfortunately lost her 14 months ago. So it wasn't long after I walked away and started looking at other things that we lost Mum. But that's also dictated how I live my life now as well.
Yeah, I think obviously we've known each other a long time, but we have reconnected since you lost Marion because we've spoken before how it's one of my biggest fears about losing my mum. And so I reached out and we just had a chat about things and sorts of stuff. But
a lot of people have, mate. It's
I think this is where we get into something that's very interesting because that relationship with your mum and losing anyone is very difficult. But actually, I've watched you from afar in that time. I know there's times when it doesn't work like that, but you've held it together. You've been open about your grief. You've been open about your mental health. You've been open about every aspect of this journey, really. And that's so liberating. And again, down to the character of the man you are, PJ Ellis, every man's man. It's like And there's stuff that's come off the back of this, like you say, that grief can really breed a strength, breed a resilience, breed a, dare I say, a reinvigorated sense of purpose for you.
I'm living a new life, mate. I'm living a new life. This is PJ version 2.
So let's go into that, because you come out of Lovebrum, you've sold your company. Obviously, you didn't expect Marion to pass.
No. We didn't know she was ill, mate. It was the most bizarre, tragic sort of, I'd not lost up until then neither. So I didn't have any grandparents growing up. I had the same fear as you, the anticipatory grief sort of fear.
That anxiety.
On the daily of losing mum. And then we were told she was ill, and hours later she died.
Really?
Yeah. It was as quick as that. And I'm not entirely sure I'll ever unpack that. But I'll tell you one thing I do know now is that she's massively overpaid for it. I feel like I've overpaid for it because I was so looking forward to her growing old. I've never had an old, I love old ladies. Like, all right, Bab, you're looking great sort of thing, and I wanted to have that sort of, I think there's 3 stages with parents, which I found really interesting. But someone said to me, you idolise your parents at the start when you're a kid. I absolutely adored mum and dad. They couldn't do anything wrong.
Superheroes.
Yeah, superheroes. Then you demonise them because they're not letting you go out or drink or whatever it might be. And then you humanise them. And that stage, I was so excited for. Dad retired quite early, did really well. And luckily for him and mum, he has at least had the last 10 years retired, both of them. Oh, wow. So they were able to live life and spend time. Mum was 66. If she was still working, she would have died whilst working. So luckily she had that 10 years of not having to work and volunteering here and there, but saw her grandkids, spend time with grandkids. But also because she was so young, I always expected 86 in her sleep. That's how she'd go. And those 20 years would mean that she'd see my son become a dad himself, or see my nephews grow up and my niece grow up, my daughter, whatever it might
married,
be.
All
that she lived for. That was her heaven on earth.
Yeah, family.
Oh, my word, yeah. I don't want to get emotional, but that was definitely that. Excuse me.
That's what I do. No, he's sitting it. I'm here.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And that's one thing I really wanted to humanise her. I wanted to talk to her. And I missed that. I don't know what her favourite song was. I'll probably have a good guess.
What would you guess it is?
Oh, there's too many. She used to listen to Patti Ball. Is it Patti Ball or Patsy Cline and all that? And I get them confused. But she loved UB40 and she loved a bit of reggae and stuff like that. So mum and dad loved the Faces, Rod Stewart and stuff. But yeah, I was just so looking forward to humanising. I really was. So that loss is so heavy. And actually, I'm gutted for her because she was the most beautiful person. She gave everything to others. She would be the first one that would give you her last pound. In fact, she was the one that would probably sneak a pound into that kid's pocket that didn't have as much money, or put a new pair of trainers in the changing room when she shouldn't. And
that was testament at her funeral, right? 700 plus people.
Oh, mate.
And can you just talk about the diverse people at the funeral?
Well, mum and dad were Dad ran the local football team growing up in a place called Kingshurst, which is hard knock. Brilliant people, the best community, would give you their shirt off their back. And mum was like the mole. She was the one that would control these young lads. Yeah,
not just for your family, for all of these others.
Well, mate, a lot of these kids that played in our team came from broken families. So when mum passed, I lived this blur of dad and my sister dealt with the sadmin, we call it, all that sort of like preparing the funeral and stuff. And it was just a blur for me. But when I turned up and this church was completely full, and the standing room, there was 500-600 people that the church can take seated. And it was people standing up and in different rooms. It was crazy. It was like...
Did you... I mean, obviously she's your mum, so you felt her legacy. But until that moment, had you really seen the legacy, or did you really understand the legacy that she left?
I didn't. I knew she was popular. And I knew she was that person that could just know when someone was struggling to start talking to them. But what I didn't know until I was actually told the effect that she'd had. And I just hoped that she knew what she'd done. I had these lads that you would, if you put them into a category, they'd be like hard nut gangsters, like all there. And they were crying their eyes out to me on the day, telling me what she'd done for them, whether it comes to faith or community or confidence. And I remember one of the lads I knew, he was murdered. And I remember the biggest like gangster lad, the hard knock, like, he was a lovely guy. He phoned mum. I'd go around mum's house and there'd be people there and I'd be like, I didn't know we were meeting. Like, I've seen Mass. Because mum would feed them. And she was just a brilliant,
Testament
lovely,
of a woman.
oh man, yeah. And I hope she knew the impact that she had. And I think that's where I get it from. She was always that,
I was just about to say exactly the
you know,
same.
give first, take after, open that door. If they don't let you through, at least you've let them through. She was very, without knowing, she's my Ted Lasso, you know.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, believe. She was just amazing. And yeah, I miss her massively. And I'm just gutted for her because she had a real tough upbringing, really tough upbringing, to the point where I struggled humanising her because she got so sad talking about her upbringing. Her mum died on her 7th birthday. And yeah, it was just really bad. She had a real horrible stepmother. And she was a real budding tennis player, a really good tennis player, apparently.
Really?
And her stepmom took her out of school at 13, 14, go and get a job. So my dad's mum saved her, really. They moved in very quickly and she became so close to dad's mum. So she used to call dad's mum, even though they lost her just before I was born, a mum.
Mm.
And actually she's yards from where she's in the cemetery. So it's just bizarre. But yeah, we lost mum 13 months ago and I'm now living with this gift. You know, I have this eternal gift that she gave me that she overpaid for, of perspective. So I know how to play with purpose and now I can play with perspective, which is really, it's a superpower, man, because as I said, version 2, I now know, well, I think I better understand what I would like to do, who I want to do it with, when, why. I'm 46. It took me all that time to get there, but that allows me to be more comfortable knowing that when I do talk about whatever I want to talk about, hopefully it resonates with people because they're going through their own challenges as well. And I know I look at my journey as not being that linear when it comes to career, but actually it's now not that linear when it becomes to family as well, because I used to think of the future a lot. I used to worry about dying. I used to worry about not having mum in my life. Now, one of those has already happened. I'm less scared about dying because I've actually seen what that looks like. I don't want to die. I've asked myself very difficult conversations because I thought that when mum died, I genuinely thought I'd go down to the bottom of the garden and that'd be done, like, because she was one of my favourites. But actually I've coped, and that's testament to the framework that I have and others don't.
Family around you, but also, does that lead us nicely onto, yes, you've got amazing framework around your family, Kelly, the kids, friends, great circle. But also, again, that mask. Because just around the time that Marion passed away, you were offered a job by the BBC, weren't you? To come into radio and be a part of that.
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about that and potentially how, realistically, you're going through a lot of grief and you're having to put on a mask and go and sit and go out into the public, and because you're a champion of Birmingham, they're sending you out into the Midlands and giving you a microphone and going, all right, Bab, talk to people and just find out about people.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crutch that. So the BBC thing was bizarre. I'd fell into non-exec work after I'd sold, in inverted commas, Lightbox. I'm not off to a Caribbean island anytime soon. But I started leaning into non-exec work and stuff like that, which was great. Like from a money perspective, I went back to the old sort of focus of cash, taking on the big shiny projects, knowing I wouldn't enjoy it, but knowing it was good money. And actually, regardless of whether mum had passed away or not, I don't think I would have been doing that anymore. But when mum passed, I definitely knew I didn't want to do that. So I cancelled all my non-exec contracts because it wasn't giving me any joy, really.
Again, a brave thing to do, though.
Yeah, it was. But equally, it was, I had other priorities, I suppose. But literally about a month before mum passed, 6 weeks before mum passed, the BBC had been in touch. A good friend of mine had put me in touch with one of the exec directors. I thought nothing of it, but we eventually had a chat. Still thought nothing of it. And then the guy called me like 2 days later saying, I don't know what it is, but I need to get you involved with this new breakfast show at BBC. I was like, oh, sweet. So, they put me on this reporter role at the breakfast. Me, little did I know that in 6 weeks' time, mum would pass away. She wasn't even ill. Do you know what I mean? She was the first person I called after I told my wife. And I'm so glad that she said, I remember saying, you're going to be good at this, Bab. You'll be happy here. And at least she thought that and knew that.
She knows you better than anybody, apart from maybe Kelly.
Even because she saw me doing the things I loved. I was getting up, just having a chat with brilliant people at bus stops, or 2 words.
Every man's man.
All right, Bab, started some beautiful conversations.
Yeah.
And that was allowing me to be Brummie, to be a proud person from the West Midlands that would go and talk to people And even though sometimes people would be a bit reluctant to have that conversation at 6:30 in the morning, it led into beautiful conversations that neither me nor them knew they needed to have. And there's a creativity in that.
Storytelling.
And actually, yeah, storytelling, man. That's the best marketing, just storytell with purpose. It's the easiest way to nail any marketing campaign. And that All Right Bab campaign was fantastic. And it was fantastic in the fact that when I was the BBC, for all the shit that they get, locally, they were fantastic to me. They just said, look, do what you need to do. So I had the time off. I think I went back to work and then I thought, I can't do this. And we got a funeral slot, quite soon. So someone told me, have a week off before the funeral and certainly after because it hits differently. So I had that 2 weeks off and then went back and thought, oh God, this is going to be heavy. And I looked at some of the photographs and I looked exhausted. And I weren't sleeping. I still don't sleep very well now because I have sleep terror. I don't want to fall asleep because it feels like I'm dying. It's weird. And I think of mom. Anyway, that's another conversation for another day.
A creative brain, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, it's stimulated by the most.
Unfortunately, our own negative bias, the creative brain comes with the byproduct of you go, oh, some people go to the negative, but when you're an overthinker with a creative brain, you go to the real negative.
Oh, yeah, man, you go deep and beyond. But yeah, it saved me with that name because all that role that I thought I would play with grief and that would have been depressed and looking for some sort of addiction that wouldn't have been good, didn't happen because it couldn't happen. I had to get out of bed. We had a real good work ethic kicked into us from kids, not physically, but we were working early because mum and dad wanted us to work and, find our way. And the work ethic kicked in. I've always worked hard when I put my heart to something. And I got out of bed at 4:45 and out I was at Walsall Market and Digbeth Market and wherever it might be, here, there and everywhere. Briley Hill Market, Bilston Market, City Centre, talking to charities, church projects, communities, schools, businesses, all walks of life.
But essentially going back to that, under the grief you're under,
yeah,
you're definitely wearing a mask to deal with
it. I had to, but I represented mum. That's the way I got through it. I read this thing about representing those that you lose, and mum would have been that person that would open those conversations, that would have got through it. She did it since she was 7 years old. She was resilient. She was creative in how she articulated her grief, where she put it, where she left it. And I thought, actually, if mum could do that, I wasn't grateful at that point. I'm getting there. She had a mum for 7 years. I had a mum for 46. That's a luxury compared to what she had. So how dare I not do what she did? And I went out and had some lovely conversations. Don't get me wrong, the second those finished, I'd be crying my eyes out in the car for 20 minutes, but that was the way I dealt with it.
Yeah.
Because then I didn't take it home. All the counselling I had through the BBC, all the counselling after, and I still do, compartmentalise, try and find the time to think about your mum, play those songs, go and visit her, spend that time, schedule that grief. And I was, without knowing. So I'm very grateful for the BBC for allowing me to do that. And it's led on to me now presenting shows, and I had my own during the summer, all of which mum never saw me have a show. I showed her the photograph. It's so bizarre. My BBC photograph, Pete, as a presenter, came through with all the backdrop. PJ came through the day mum passed away.
Really?
So when she was intubated, I showed her it. So hopefully she saw it one way or another.
So,
she never listened to one of my shows, but I dedicated my first one to her. And
she listened to you for 40-something years. She knew.
Oh, yeah. She knew I was a storyteller one way or another. She used to say I was a bullshitter, basically. I said, Mum, it's storytelling.
But you got that from somewhere. And like you're saying, I think, I'm not trying to get you emotional, but I think without knowing Marion, I think you're a beautiful legacy to her.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, mate. Mum, I'm trying to think what legacy is now. And I, through the wisdom of Jimmy Carr, he was talking to my mate Alison Hammond on a boat about he lost his mum when he was young and she was young. And he started to get angry and all the usual stages. I'm still angry, all that, yeah. I'll be angry till the day that I die, in the fact that she didn't live a long life. But he said, legacy, he now knows what the afterlife looked like. And I thought, this is interesting. He said, it's now. My mum's afterlife is me, how I live, what she left in me, what the part of her that's in me. And I thought, wow, okay, so it's my responsibility now to do what mum used to do, to look out for blokes that are struggling, to be there, to resonate, to inspire, to listen. My mum was, and my dad got upset the other day. It was so bizarre. We had a tile around. My dad came in and the tiler came in and it looked like they just had it out. It was really weird. And I thought, what's going on? Anyway, the tiler later on told me, and my dad told me the story. My dad had pulled up on the drive and he'd seen this tiler just like prepping some grout or whatever. I don't know what they do. And he just felt compelled to talk to him, to ask him questions that I suppose convention would suggest you shouldn't be asking a person that you've just met. And it led into the most beautiful conversation that they both needed around grief, mental health, community, family. And the Tyler said to me on the night that he's been struggling. And my dad, he said he just came to me at a time when I needed him most. And that's Mum's power. Mum knew exactly when people needed it. She just had this superhero power in her that she'd just say things and then listen. I never thanked her for that. She had this, and I don't think she knew she had it. I don't know how
that's her superpower.
And that was born out of the tragedy and the struggle she had as a kid. I think she felt like she didn't want people to go through what she did. So she provided that comfort, that community, that sounding board in a creative way. Mum was a very creative, very clever, very funny, I laugh, I miss it every day. And she didn't know because she always thought she wasn't because she didn't have the GCSEs. So it goes back full circle. She'd always dictate.
But also, I don't think I think maybe you're, like you said earlier, you're learning to give yourself more credit. But I don't think you recognise some of those major character traits in yourself too. Because as I say, other people will meet you and they'll go, holy shit, he's the warmest, most confident guy. He made me feel amazing. And we've spoken about that, Woo With You. And it's that. These people are hitting the nails on the head. PJ Ellis, the every man's man, your mum. It's there's elements where I think it's not about, people will never remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And it sounds like your mom have got those energies that have affected people more than you can ever possibly realise.
Yeah, that's very kind of you. And all I will say is that I definitely know that's what Mum did because I was told that. I've seen people tell me the difference Mum made. And it was that, how can I put it? And this is, I can see me, and these are the humanising conversations I wanted with Mum, because actually sometimes if we crossed the path, we would butt heads, and because we're very similar. I don't think we ever realised how similar we were. She would always want to fill an empty silence. So I'd be like, that's bizarre, but I'd do exactly the same. We'd go to a party and all of a sudden some random would be sitting on our table because he was on his own in the corner. It's not what I'd do. I'd go to that first person networking event that he's not saying anything or he's on his own because I'm thinking that could be my son or me or whatever. And then after that, my mum would be the most annoying because I'd come off the conversations I used to say to my wife and I miss them like wholeheartedly. I've met a lovely person in you today, I had a lovely conversation. The first thing my body will want to do when I get in that car is to phone my mum.
Yeah.
And I miss that. But what she used to do when she used to phone me, used to annoy me, she'd never talk about me. I now know she'd talk about me to everyone else other than me. But when it was me, it was about other people. Do you remember that Matt that we met in that podcast? I met his mum the other day for a coffee. You what? He's mad. And his mum's dad's mate.
He does live next door to...
Yeah, he's got a church project. So I've dropped him some clothes. And it was just, she's this community person. The things she used to do, she was a pools lady. Just look at that, knocking on people's doors. Remember the good old days? You'd class her as nosy. She wasn't. She was interested in other people and how she could help them. She was the one that at Christmas, she would go to all the food banks, all the church projects, just drop everything off and then do the bottle top raffle for the local school. That was her thing. And I see that in me, I do. I do see that in me because there's no denying that's what I obviously loved so much in my mum that I now want to carry on because I see the good that is created from stuff like that. So I now know that Mum isn't with me physically, but I do believe that she's with me spiritually. Definitely. And I'm just going to represent her as much as I can.
And you are, and I think you're an amazing legacy. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass in any way because I think what you do and what you've done for people listen to what we've done. There's charity, there's creativity. It's always about other people. The radio stuff, it's always about championing other people, leaning into your story. Where do you feel most alive?
Yeah,
and having the courage to pursue that. I
think that's the creative spark in me. I think creativity comes from doing something that you're really passionate about. And that was football initially. And I suppose there's a creative sort of artistic place that lives within football. But the creativity in me is enabling. So it allows me to push through those barriers I have from an anxious person and to know that actually, if I do this, I don't really care what people think about me because I know deep down that I'm not making tons of cash from it. If anything, I've never made money from charity and I'm doing good.
Yeah.
So it enables me to be confident in the things that I'm doing. And there's something quite artistic around that. And from a creativity point of view, you do have to think about how you grow communities and monetize those communities. For if it is a grant maker like Love Brum, we had to find money to give away.
Problem solving.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you know
Which
what?
is creativity with a capital C, I think. It's
Yeah,
just
interesting.
problem solving.
I used to think problem solving was more around the academia part of my life, the lawyer, the mathematician. Not at all. It's creativity.
Yeah, because you've got to be able to think outside the box. Because, yes, sometimes you love the fact that A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
But sometimes A plus B equals F. And you're like, oh, shit, how do I square that circle?
Yeah, but below C sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lad called Ruben, good guy. He'd been in marketing all his life. And he started working with us at Lightbox, came in as like a non-exec sort of thing. And he said to me, you're proper creative you are. And I was like, you what? Not at all, mate. Because I was there still as I was playing that part of like operations, making sure the business was ran properly thing, because I just assumed that the lawyer in me would be better as control and management and exec and logistics and growth and new clients onboarding. Not at all. I was the storyteller. Like I was the big picture.
You were essentially you're a front man of the band.
Yeah. So Rob was brilliant, creative, like on paper. He was an artist. He was brilliant. So my ideas mixed with him being able to put those ideas on paper created some brilliant things. We created this thing called Unbox, and it was a monthly sort of meet where we brought people together. We brought brilliant storytellers in, from Paul Richardson at Gymshark to Alison Hammond to the head of product at Dr. Martens, Adam Meek, and to a lady that's is a professional eater. And it was just brilliant. And it was just like creativity wise, it ticked all the boxes because it engaged, it educated, it connected, it inspired. And from a commercial point of view, it was brilliant for brand Lightbox. It was brilliant for recruitment. It was brilliant for onboarding and stuff.
But all those things you've just mentioned in terms of the Unbox thing, it's only what we're doing with the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Different stories from different people. Perhaps, PJ's not an artist, but fucking hell, he's a creative. Here's, if you listen to the story, you'll find out why. Inspire others to do the things that inspire them. And that's where I found that synergy with different missions, potentially. But
yeah, I do like setting up brands as well. So
exactly the same as me. It's
I can see it. It's fantastic. You know, my eye gets drawn to colouring in sort of thing, and I find that quite therapeutic. But I'm always creating logos for this and that. I've just created an All Right Bab logo, which I can't wait to launch. And
okay, then let's talk a bit. I feel like, is that a nice semi-seamless segue into the two things
next?
that I believe you're working on next? The one that I know and I definitely wanted to talk about is Mommy's Boy charity.
Yeah,
but also you've got your own podcast. All Right Bab. Is that in the pipeline still?
Yeah, it is, mate. From a creativity point of view, Mommy's Boy was quite a natural thing for me to follow. And I've struggled a little bit with it. And the reason why is twofold, really. I'll tell you what it is. I was looking for help. I was really struggling. I had all that.
In your grief?
Yeah, I was struggling. And bizarrely, my best mates lost their mums within the space of 4 months of each other. We lost Siobhan 4 weeks after marrying, and then we lost Marie at Christmas. So it was a space of 5 months. These lads that were on a playground 30 years ago, as 15-year-old lads, didn't know that in 30 years' time, they'd all lose their mums in the space of 6 months. So we went for a walk, and I just got it. I thought, hang on a second. Because all the way up to that, I'd been looking at platforms for mental health. How can I connect? And there were some brilliant ones out there. Andy's Man Club, the walking and talking groups, all that brilliant organisations. But I couldn't see a specific one for blokes who had lost their mums. And actually the feedback when I spoke about losing mum was very much that. Oh, mate, I really appreciate you talking openly about this. I lost my mum 20 years ago, never been able to talk about it. Loads of wives. My husband lost his mum in COVID, still has not been the same guy. People are coming in after losing their mum, but different people. Blokes, and then there's the stats around suicide rates, male loneliness.
Yeah, we're supposed to just suck it up. And even when we lose the only person that we ever come into the world with, we're attached to this person.
Yeah.
But as men, we're still supposed to suck it up and go, nah.
Yeah, I think there is that sort of like convention. Like there's data to suggest that those blokes that you would think are more of the geezers that would go to war for us in construction struggle with it even more because they are these geezers.
Bravado that the mask that they have to put on.
They're the lads. So I looked at that and all this feedback, and then I thought about my journey around my mum, and what I miss most was all those things that I was once ridiculed for. God, you talk to your mum every day. Yeah, I do. Yep. You tell your mum you love her every day. Yeah, yep. I'm so glad I did. Your mummy's boy. Like derogatory sort of thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm fucking, excuse my French, proud to be a mummy's boy.
Yeah.
And so I thought there's no better way of calling it mummy's boy. And it's going to be a brave, safe community for blokes who have lost their mums, right? Doesn't mean I'm not going to open it up to females, or it's going to be mental health based. And it might signpost people into better platforms that will deal with addiction and obesity. Because I put 2.5 stone on,
Really?
Yeah, comfort eating, mate. I now know what that is. I've lost it again, thank the Lord, but still need to lose a stone. But I was sitting there at 3 Mars bars crying just because it gave me this distraction.
Yeah.
Started betting a little bit more. I can see what happens off the back of grief. Bless mum, she passed away. It was a 12-month. It was probably a bit of with hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done it because I hadn't told the family. They were a bit shocked by it. I told them I was doing something, but the first time they saw what it really was on the year, we didn't fall out, by the way, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I thought, no, actually, it's really poignant for me to mark this year. I don't know how to celebrate a year of mum's passing with something good.
Yeah.
And the inbound, mate, has been ridiculous to the point where the old procrastinator in PJ has resurfaced because I now not really know what my next step is. I do.
In the sense that there's too much choice. You're being presented the paradox of choice.
Too much choice. Corporate saying, can we do this? Can we support this? Can we set this up? Can we start this? Can we do this? Why don't we do this?
But essentially at the heart of Mommy's Boy Charity is, once again, no selfish act. You're helping with your own grief.
Yeah.
By showing
100%.
up for other men.
Yeah. It's as much for me as it is for them.
Yeah, of course.
And it'll be initially what I think it should start with, spit and sawdust club, social club somewhere, and just come, no drinking. A brilliant charity called 2 Pints Deep. I know where you can go after 2 pints, and I don't want to encourage those conversations. No. I want them to be more around, how you feeling? A bit like we did with Love Bro.
Yeah.
What do you think would help? And actually, I don't care if one person turns up. It doesn't matter. As long as I help that one person.
And it could look different for every person, couldn't it?
100%.
Someone might come the first time and not say a word. 3 times later, 100%. They're crying their eyes out.
I think what would have helped me was, and this is probably what will be pushed into Mommy's Boy, it'll be an education charity whereby there'll be experts around grief, addiction, anticipatory loss. What are those things we can do to when we have those panic attacks? All those things about comforting. Control. When you know you're going to have a wobble, how can you prepare for it? All the things I'm getting through counselling. What can we do just to help each other? How can we sit in the mud together? The data suggests that it's not face-to-face anymore, it's shoulder-to-shoulder. But if you are talking to someone that resonates or has gone through that challenge, you're more open to talk about
much easier,
how you're feeling. That was when I went with my mates. I thought, there's 3 lads here. We're all dealing with it differently. I'm crying more than others, but we all cry. I'm an emotional peach at the best of times.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so we're going to sit in the mud together with these lads. And then if that leads into signposting people to different charities, brilliant. If it leads into doing 5-a-side football every month or a walk every month,
if it leads into one conversation that stops someone doing something stupid.
Yeah, and that's it. And even if it gets that conversation to ask yourself that question, which I did, I was so lucky. We have to move. We have to make a change. We have to put someone in. I've lost people to suicide, friends. So yeah, that is my big passion play at the moment. And I'm getting off the procrastination fence and getting things moving. I've had a huge charity approach me to maybe collaborate on something. So it's really exciting already. So I just got to get it going and see what happens.
And as I say to you, mate, we've had this discussion before that anything I can do with my creativity, whether it's photography, video,
I appreciate that.
Whatever, I'm in, because
thanks.
I really respect what it is you're doing. I do think, all of this is just an incredible legacy to Marion and your mum.
Thanks, mate. And I don't want to get you upset, but you might need it one day. We're all going to lose somebody.
We're all going to need it.
Yeah,
someday.
100%.
And as we've spoken in great detail, it is that anticipatory thing. It's a very strange feeling.
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, I wish, it's easier said now, oh, you shouldn't do it. There's got to be more to it than that, because I can't even articulate the pain I'm going through, and I'm going through it. Even though I used to think about what it was like, I couldn't even articulate what it feels like now. Crying in the shower, just try and find another. And you know what? There is a way of saying that. One of the counselling sessions was when you feel like you're going to have that wobble, because you'll know that you go into a place that you used to go to together, and someone will just hit you. I was slicing a cucumber the other day and I found myself in a pool of tears because Mum showed me how to make a salad. But if I'm going to a restaurant that I know we used to go to, you can almost prepare to have that wobble, and it's like filling that space. How am I going to fill that space? So if instead of going to the shower and crying and putting Mariah Carey track on, go and exercise. Yeah, go for a walk, take your dog out, tell your missus that you love her, tell your son that you're proud of him, whatever it might be.
Practice gratitude. I'm with you on that. Whenever we have a psychological issue, do something physical.
Yeah,
do something physical.
I found that amazingly helpful. Getting out of bed and walking around the markets and smelling those smells, triggering as hell. Because Mum used to take me to Chelmsford Market, got me ear pierced there. And it's triggering as hell, just lent into it because it was movement, it was smells, it was outdoors.
But also you being you and Marion's legacy, you're putting your energy into other people. All right, Bab, tell me your story. Let's focus on you. It's not about me and my grief right now. This hour and a half of this breakfast is about you telling your story and getting that out there.
It's interesting because one of the best advices I had at BBC was that it's not your story. And I was like, what do you mean? It's my show. But no. When you're interviewing or communicating or talking, let them tell their story. You're just facilitating it. And it's beautiful that way because everyone gets it. They tell their story. They unload. You're educated. You're inspired. It resonates. You feel better. So yeah, for me to be able to go out and go, all right, Bab, and make people just smile, it was lovely. And actually that's led me into thinking, I've got this Wit and Grit podcast at the moment, which was born out of me and my mate, Andy, brilliant guy. He's got a massive change management company, really successful guy. If you look at it, success as money and grow businesses, but he's such a lovely guy. He's the guy that starts his LinkedIn bios with dad first. He knows the priorities. He's a good guy. And we're worried about the future of the workforce for our kids. Super intelligent, super bright, super creative, super talented.
Socially inept.
Socially awkward, yeah.
Sorry.
So, and it's not their fault.
No.
It's not their fault. You know, Blake is my son. He looks, thank the Lord, he takes after his mum because he's a beautiful looking kid.
Boy.
He wants to be an actor. He's telling me he wants to be an actor. Brilliant. Super creative. I've seen some monologues that the acting school have sent me. Honestly, move me to tears. He's good at what he does. He's on the spotlight and all that sort of stuff. So he's having people come to him, big brands, asking him to get involved. All that's amazing. So he's got the opportunity to do the things he wants to do, to activate it, to get out the door, to go and audition and meet someone. Can't do it. So what does that look like in the future of the workforce when I'll use the legal analogy. Paralegals, new starters start, digitally native, brilliantly sound when it comes to AI, creativity, whatever it might be, struggle picking a phone up. And you've got the partner, the other end of the spectrum, who's still on the golf course negotiating face to face, that doesn't like these new millennials, Gen Z, whatever we are now, Gen Alpha. And the others can't resonate with him. But actually, if they bring those two together, what a powerful workforce that would be. So and actually what I really love about that, Andy said to me, he said, you know what, I think we can really commercialize this business. I've got some ideas. He said, but let's just set up a podcast. And usually I would have ran to the hills. No way, I'm not interested. 3 days later, we had a brand, we had a name, we had a URL, and we were live. And it was just amazing. And those conversations that have started off the back of that, like what you're doing in the 1% Club now, 22, 23 episodes, whatever, it's amazing because it allows me to do all those things that I love. So off the back of that, I thought I had to do an All Right Bab one. And the reason is, I think this could be Love Brun version 2. Brand Birmingham, right? It still needs some sort of collaboration. There's loads of things that we're doing brilliantly, but they're not connected. There's not a platform, and I don't think Birmingham has the brand that it's needed. So yeah, All Right Bab, 2 words that start beautiful conversations. I'm just getting on with it. I'm going to have 20 minutes buzzer, and it'll be unscripted, a bit like this, and it'll be like, all right, Bab, and I'll start with just one question, which will change every guest. So it could be,
you'll need your dad to help you with that, with some of his philosophical profound
yeah,
ones.
it might just be how you're sleeping there.
Yeah.
And you might just, what did you have for breakfast this morning, Matt? And I think there'll be something that will resonate with diet, sleeping, normal, that lived experience that people get so much weight or get so much from when it's peer to peer.
And do you think, going back to Blake,
yeah,
do you think him seeing you do all this stuff that you do your children know how much you suffer from social anxiety?
I don't think they would, no. And I don't
because
think
they see dad, someone
Yeah.
they love, who's obviously always fun, very comfortable around his children.
Yeah.
But they also see the public persona where the masks are on and all these things.
Yeah, they do. They've seen the emotional dad. I've never, ever not got upset in front of them. I don't bring my troubles to them, but I've always been comfortable crying in front of them because I think they need to know that me and Kelly, they can say and do anything they want. They can always come home and tell me the worst news because it won't be as bad as they think. And that will involve crying and emotional storytelling and telling the truth and all that. So I've always been very clear on that. I'm not hiding my emotions. But yeah, they see like a performer, don't they? They see someone that's got a decent...
Do you think that's why Blake wants to be an actor?
I don't know, mate, to be fair. Maybe I should have been an actor because
Maybe.
it gives you that safety net, doesn't it? You're able to turn up and play Dracula.
When you play a part, it's like me when I flip into work mode or when I flip into podcast mode. Essentially, I'm playing a part.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it becomes, I think you get that blanket in that, they didn't think I was a good Dracula. They're not saying you're a bad person. You're not a good PJ. They're saying, you're not a good Dracula.
Yeah.
I don't know where Dracula's come from, by the way.
But I get what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're safe, aren't you, in that? You're method acting. Blake is a very talented actor. Like, he looks the part, and there's probably hundreds and hundreds of other people like Blake. And I just wish they encourage that more within schools. We are still judging people on how they can recall stuff from their brain and how mathematically bright they are. I mean,
and let's face it, the world does not need another average accountant or an average...
Mate, I can build a website on AI now.
Yeah.
You've got like that leveling out thing where I can become the most statistical genius in the heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I've got A stars in maths and A-level maths and all that. And what good does that serve me?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the Python theory or cos and sin and all that.
And look at the journey that you've been on, from law to Big Brother to back to law to digital creative marketing, signing out of that charity, now into radio. And what I do believe, I think you are finding much more of your purpose now.
Yeah, I am, mate. Yeah, I'm just happier. I think I am happier in my portfolio life. I would like a little bit more balance in what that looks like, because I've always been a bit spread too thin. But I think that's a bad thing, as long as I've got some non-negotiables now in my life when it comes to my time with my family and my kids and all that.
How long have you had those? Or has that been a result of
It's definitely been strengthened since mum. But I've had them for a couple of years now. I've had to, because I get asked, I'm quite lucky, I get asked to do a lot of things. And I've got to make sure that I just always remember that, that yes is a no to something else.
But the power of no is also a superpower as well.
Mate, I've rereading, what is it? The Power of Not Giving a Beep.
Oh, Mark Manson, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah, is he a bloke? I thought it was a lady, Sarah or something, but there's a couple, isn't there? Oh, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck by Sarah Knight. Okay. And it actually is, her book has been influenced by a book about tidying your life. So decluttering in the house. It was a Japanese lady or a Chinese lady that says, remove everything from your house, your wardrobe, your cupboards that don't bring you joy. Because even that little activity in the morning of sifting through your T-shirts, the 3 or 4 or the 10 that you're never going to wear.
It's that Steve Jobs thing, wear the same thing every day. Nick Knight, very famous fast dog, wore the same thing to every
Stephen
shoot.
Bartlett does it, all black cap.
And in some respects, I'm the same. I wear a Creative Nolan T-shirt, a pair of trainers and a pair of jeans. Most of my days, unless I'm going to meeting or...
Well, I struggled with that when I came out of law because I didn't have a uniform anymore. I didn't have my...
Built enough brands that you must have enough merchandise from all of your brands.
I must admit, it's often black jeans, trainers, black T-shirt.
That was a photography hazard for me, though. When you're working in studios, you need to be in black just in case there's reflective surfaces.
I think it's a media thing as well, isn't it? You got your cool watch on and your trainers. I think maybe. But yeah, mate, I am now playing with purpose. I'm trying not to give a shit.
Do you still think you're wearing the same masks, or do you think you're much more comfortable being PJ, every man's man?
I care less now. It doesn't mean I don't care. I care less about what people think about me. Doesn't mean I don't care.
But that's been a contributing factor to your success, the fact that you do care so much about
100%, yeah.
It's not always a bad thing. And you and Hannah spoke about this in your previous podcast, that giving a shit about what other people think is empathetic.
Yeah. It's a driver.
It's a driver. And you want people to come away feeling the best from you, inspired, lifted. No one wants to be going back to Dracula, the energy vampire.
Yeah.
You want to be the people that come away going, holy fuck, I felt so good sitting down talking to PJ for a couple of hours.
I much prefer to, I think for me, it's more so maybe where that goes. What often would happen would be I'd meet people and then I'd get like an email saying, oh, I've thought of this, I've done this. Oh, what about this? Can you help me with this? All innocently, because I'd be the first person to say, yeah. And I'd go, yes. So because I didn't want to upset them. And this book's actually teaching me that actually you can control how you make somebody feel, but you can't control necessarily what they think of you, their opinion. So actually, as long as you've hit that mark in relation to controlling how you want to make them feel, so you're not an arsehole, and you're very honest and transparent, and I think authenticity is key. And I think that's a real superpower when it comes to creativity. Why be an artist that you don't want to be and never sell a painting? It'd be bizarre, wouldn't it, to be something you're not and never actually succeed? Yeah, I think I'm better now at saying no.
Yeah.
So I've got better at doing that when it comes to caring less, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Really does.
And actually, it's really cathartic and liberating. When you say no to something, you get asked to come to all these events, and you know that in 3 months' time, you're going to be sitting there in 30-degree heat, having to put a black tie on, thinking, I can't be arsed.
Yeah.
And so why don't you just come up with an excuse at the start? I'm really sorry, but Fridays are so important to me nowadays because my son does this and this.
Someone once said, if it's not a hell yeah,
it's a no, 100%. I've got that written here.
Have you really?
Well, yeah, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Yeah.
100%, man. And it's difficult because you think, oh no,
You
I did it the other day.
And I imagine with you being you, mate, your network is so huge. I'm sure people do just come out of the woodwork going, oh, fucking hell, PJ could help me with this. Or PJ knows this person. Or I want Alison Hammond to endorse my new fashion brand.
Yeah,
I'll just ring PJ or whatever.
I get asked that.
I bet, yeah.
Genuinely, I get asked that probably 20 times a week.
And that's what I mean. And because they know you're such good friends, and it's funny, we may or may not leave the bit about Alison in the beginning. But yeah, again, it's these people.
Yeah, I don't think it's not bad. They're not bad people. Like, I don't ask, you don't get. But I think I used to put things in front of Alison, and actually, she's managed to the nth degree of her life at the moment. And it was affecting our friendship because I didn't want her to think. And it wasn't me asking her for a favour.
You felt you were having to do something for someone else in your work, and I better ask Alison.
Yeah, for people that don't know.
I'm pissing Alison off and affecting my relationship.
So I'm affecting her relationship by not even asking her to do something for me. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's mad. So we almost have an agreement whereby I just send it straight to her agent now.
Yeah.
And they can decide what happens. But
yeah, of course.
I mean, just send it to man. Put it on Instagram. She'll see.
Well, no, I mean, I'm sure Alison won't mind us talking about it. I don't expect
Alison's a great person.
That's what I mean. Like, but
you know,
again,
we talk about authenticity. Alison's
and
the same
creative
person.
journey.
Yeah, same person that I saw when she walked down the steps of Big Brother House. All right, Bob.
Yeah.
I think that was the first thing she said.
But I think that in a time where everyone rants on about authenticity, she is nothing but that.
No, she's not.
You don't look at her and go, oh my God, she's playing a role.
Well,
but then again, for years, I thought the same about you, mate.
She probably is, in the sense that
you were.
She might have to. She struggles with losing her mum as well, and there's times I can only imagine that she's thinking about her mum and having to go onto national television. She's playing some sort of part because she brings that joy and energy. And
but going back to what I said, most people, me included, would look at you, your world, and go, "What? Wow." Super confident out there, doesn't battle anything, he just gets on with it. But of course, we're humans, we all battle stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, and much respect to Alison for what she's done and continues to do.
Yeah, she's great.
We've spoken about a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things I want to say. There's something that we spoke about before, and something that keeps coming up when we speak.
Yeah.
It's both a blessing and a curse to feel everything so deeply.
Yeah, man.
And I think we are two empathetic people.
Yeah.
And we do feel a lot. I know that I'm very open talking about my emotions. You're obviously clearly very open talking about emotions. That, I hope, can inspire someone else. But what truth or lesson would you most want someone listening to take away from this podcast?
Wow.
I know that's because we have spoken about a lot, and masks and grief and resilience and adaptability and reinvention. But
yeah, I think borrow my perspective if you want, because it's the most liberating thing at the moment. But it's gift wrapped in grief. So borrow anybody's perspective that you can and really lean into it. There's so many times I used to listen to things or read things and go, you know what, I'm going to put that into practice, and never do. I think momentum beats perfection. It's a bit deep, but I always used to have to. I probably missed opportunities by overthinking what the logo looks like or what the website looks. Just get on with it. Just get, what is it? Done is better
than perfect.
Yeah, 100%.
You can refine it later.
I'm a big believer of that. And it's just get on with it. And fail fast. It leads into all those things. Don't hurt anyone. Don't be racist. Don't be cruel. All that. But if you fail fast, so what? You're going to learn so much, whether it's right in the first place, So, yeah, I think getting things done and going for it is really important. That what if thing, you don't have a what if moment. I think that's really important. And I think I've always confused busy with productive, but I don't want
to be a busy fool.
It's like the sign of being like in demand. Yeah, I'm busy, man. But you're just worn out doing things for other people for no money. So if it's not productive, and you need to know what that needs to look like, but if it's not bringing you joy, if it's not productive and you're still busy, you've really got to look at something in your life and really try and balance. It's not easy. It's not easy.
But if anyone takes anything from this, look at your story, the adaptability, the reinvention along the journey to find your purpose, essentially. I know that's... we're stealing from Hannah a little bit in her podcast, but...
Don't expect things to happen overnight, either. We see these overnight successes of like Gymsharks. It still took 12 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's this brilliant sort of picture that I love. Two geezers mining a tunnel with a big pickaxe. And one guy has gone further than the other, and they're all going towards the edge of the page, yeah? And the guy has started to turn back on the bottom, and he's gone further than the one that's just started out. And they're all going the same direction. But this guy has turned back while the other one's starting to move. And he's moved and he's turned back at that moment. If he had one more axe, he would have got the gold.
Yeah.
So success, these projects, these chapters in your life, they say that success usually is a 10-year thing. And I feel that. I do feel that because Loughborough, 10 years. I can now real pinpoint all the impact that had. The journey in marketing was 10 years. My journey in law was 10 years. I'm putting myself at 55 there, but they were about 8 to 9 years. They're overlapped. I was doing Loughborough when I was a lawyer.
These seasons.
And I was doing Lightbox as a lawyer. So it was, although they're overlapping, there were still 10 years projects, if that makes sense. So I think the journey I'm on at the moment it's a great enabler, grief, in really being retrospective in that what person do I really want to be? Like, what do I want to be remembered for and why?
What do you want your legacy to be?
Just a good bloke. Just like
every man's man.
Yeah, every man's man. He was a good bloke. He'd always help me out. And I think because I don't remember, I do know, of course, but anyone has ever said to me, oh, I remember your mum had a great bank account. I remember your mum didn't have any debt. I remember your mum, she drove a lovely Mini. Never. It's always, your mum was amazing. She said something to me at the right time. She helped me out. She gave me this. She put me in this direction. And it's how they made her feel. And so I just want to be remembered as a good bloke. He was a good dad who did something that helped Birmingham. I'm a big fan of Birmingham. It's been great to me.
I don't think it's just Birmingham. I think in any
West Midlands.
In any no. I think in any situation you would be put in legacy to Marion, other people always come first.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It's not. You've got to report. You've got to fill the cup up and all that. And that's what I'm getting better at.
Recharge your battery when you need to.
Yeah, and be more confident in knowing what that looks like. And sometimes to me, it's just doing nothing, sitting with my wife, going for lunch, going for a walk. We go for a walk every day.
Simplest of things.
Just the simplest of things, mate. Enjoying that smell of the coffee that you've had in the morning, or the fact that you can have a nice bagel with whatever we put on it. I don't know, but
not even that. Sitting on the bench with Kelly and the dog running around the place.
Yeah,
and just
because that is what I miss most with Mum. When we go on a bike ride, I look at this bench and we used to sit on that. And what I would give to just sit on there, wouldn't even have to talk to her. Just sit on there with her. Yeah. That I would give everything I own. Yeah, I would give everything I own to do that. And that's why the whole sort of my next steps in life, of course, you got to pay the bills and all that sort of stuff. But equally, that's not a priority to me anymore, money. It's not. There's different ways that I'm judging success by. And I really look forward to this chapter of my life. I just wish Mum was on it with me. I know she is, but I just wish physically she was. But I've got to be grateful to her for this new perspective. It's as simple as that.
The greatness of a man is not in the wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively.
Well, I love that. That's a quote that's similar to a quote that I like, actually.
Should we go on to that then?
Yeah.
I feel like we've spoken about a lot. Closing tradition for the Creative Nolan podcast. We like people to leave us with some sort of quote that's resonated with you.
Okay.
And also, PJ Ellis and his monster network, someone that you think could be a really interesting guest to come on the Creative Nolan podcast.
Two challenging things to do, actually.
Yeah. Again, paradox of choice that we talk about, because there are so many amazing quotes.
Yeah. I'm reading the Chin Paradox again at the moment.
Yeah, well, great.
I love that word, paradox. Okay, whatever you do, always give 100% unless you're donating blood. That's Bill Murray. And it's not that one, I'm joking.
I love that.
So I'm not sure this one is... These quotes are always attributed to Sir Winston Churchill, aren't they? He may or may not have said this, but I like it. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. I really like that.
Oh, and that fits in such the ethos of Creative Noland. We're trying to give back and we're trying to inspire others.
Yeah, and you are. We make a living by what we get. So that was what I used to think my purpose was. What I get, what I receive, what money I earn, my wages, the watches I bought, the car I had, the house I had, the curb appeal. but I'm making a life now, and unknowingly so, by what I'm giving. We make a life by what we give. So we give perspective, we give time, we give opportunities, presence, energy, love, happiness, conversation.
Silence sometimes. Just like say, sitting in the mud with your friends is
100%. And that's, I think, actually, the second you get to know that, what a life you'll lead. Because you'll give your time to your kids, which I didn't for 8 years. Yeah, so that, if it was Sir Winston Churchill, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But I don't give it. It could be Donna. It could be Donna from Dudley, mate. I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I love it.
The sentiment's still the same.
Yeah, I love it, mate. There's always, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, all that sort of stuff. That stuff is massive to me.
And hearing your story and your mum's story, that's obviously a legacy from her.
Yeah. She's the kindest person I've ever met. Yeah, 100%. Next to my wife, Kelly, and my family, that's what she was, just kind with her time, with her belongings, with her energy, with her money, with her food, with her everything. She just always put others first. And I'm grateful for that upbringing. I really am. So, person, this is a good one. So you want me to suggest a creative, to be on this podcast. By the way, this podcast is great, mate. So there's the obvious ones on Instagram.
Like Alison.
Alison Hammond.
Again, I do think that would be a creative story, but
I think Alison Hammond would be amazing. I just think, I think she would be incredible. And actually, she might want to do it. You never know. Alison's a lovely person who would give so much from saying so much. I think sometimes the position she's in, she has to be quite careful what she says.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But I would say there's a funny guy, man, online, Tap Vision. Have you come across him? The paper mache, like the papier mache expert. He's mental, man. I love that guy. Bam Bam Birmingham. If you come across them, they're doing all these funny Birmingham brands within iconic album covers. So the other day, he just posted a photo of the Spam Tim. Remember Spam?
Yeah.
And at the top, it's Beham Birmingham. The Barbie font is Brummy, and he created me into a South Park. He used Sutton Park and all this. It was wicked. But I would say, the people that I would love you to talk to, there's a company called Stormworks, Joe Holsley and Connor Watt, 2 students that's not anymore, but met at university, and the creativity they've set up a video company. They've also set up something else now called sportworks.io. But I did some work with them, and the creativity they have is just ridiculous. They are unbelievably, they're those experts that bring their passion. It's not just their craft. They know it inside out. They're obsessed with how to tell stories. But I think topping them, sorry, Joe and Connor, might be a lady called Pamela Aculi. She's a lovely lady, Pam. And she's got a business called Just Like Me Books and Mixed, MIXD, Reality.
Okay.
And basically, she does so much more than this, but they're augmented reality picture books that are inclusive. And her story as to why she got there, it's her eldest son. He's autistic, non-verbal. Wow. He's actually quite beautiful. So from a very challenging situation, she has been creative to then enable a way of developing, learning in a creative way. She's
trying to help other people.
Really impressive, mate.
Which is very much similar to your story.
So check them out because they are great people helping others without being as creative as they probably know, to be fair, and then inspiring and very real at the same time. Yeah, check them out.
Is there anything, Pete, that we haven't spoken about that you think we should?
No, mate, other than fair play to what you do. I know that it's not easy to run podcasts. I know how difficult they are to plan and to host and to then distribute and edit and all that. It all looks sexy when you see it, but I also know the tears that sit behind that sexiness.
Yeah, and sometimes the mask that we all have to play when.
Yeah, but I'm grateful for you, mate. I'm grateful because it's a slog. And you said the other day that, to get into the 1% club, you've got to produce 21 podcasts. Sounds easy. I know it isn't. And I'll actually, to get to your 2,500 downloads or whatever it is.
3,000 plus now.
There we go. Sorry, sir. It's massive. To not commercialise that neither or have that celebrity back in it, that's amazing. And you've affected 2,500 people who have listened to those, whatever insights they've got from whatever person they listen to. It takes a lot of going, mate. It's a fair play. And I'm really grateful for you inviting me onto a platform that allows me to unload. Cheers, Mucker.
Well, I think your story of all these things that we've spoken about, resilience, adaptation, reinvention, authenticity and purpose. Pete,
Yeah.
I don't want to get emotional, but I never met Marion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're an incredible legacy, and I'm sure the rest of the family are, but you doing what you do and us having that connection of all we want to do is try and inspire others to do the shit that inspires them and help and be a positive, every man's man, a good guy, not be a dick in life.
Yeah.
And like we say, the Bob Marley quote that we just spoke about, it's not the wealth of a man, it's his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. And you are a shining example, not just for Brum and the West Midlands, but I hope that anyone, wherever they're listening to this, can take stuff away and be inspired by you, dude, because whether they're an artist, creative, business person, entrepreneur, just someone trying to get through something.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for being so open. Thank you for being so honest. And
it's all right, mate.
You're a fucking legend. I love you to pieces.
Thanks, mate.
And we're going to share everything about Mommy's Boy, the All Right Bad podcast, the Wit and Grit podcast. We'll get it all out there for you.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Keep doing what you do. And any artist out there that, you know, he's creative and he's struggling, my door's always open. But just back yourself, man, because the person that you listen to most is yourself. So just be kind to yourself, continue being good, backing yourself, and the world's your oyster, man. Just have some fun out there.
What a great way to end it. And the Creative Noah Land community will continue to back you to the hill, brother. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Noah Land podcast. If you found anything in this episode useful or inspiring, please consider subscribing or sharing it with a friend. You can also help the podcast by clicking the support the show link in the show notes or by grabbing yourself something from the Creative Noah Land shop. And here's the bonus. When you join the community through our website, you'll get a special discount code that gives you free shipping on all orders. So, before you buy anything, be sure to join the community. Every bit of support helps us keep sharing these inspiring stories. So, thanks again for listening, and until next time, explore, inspire, and create.
Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire?